Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. After having a baby with my wife in my dream, they all came true. Chapter 41. Eldar. Lin Chuan was stunned. That's right, Lin Yang blinked. Hey, the spirit tribe is just a name they chose themselves. They are actually a group of half-demon. There is nothing surprising. Lin Chuan hoped this was a coincidence, but it obviously wasn't. The group of half-demon causing trouble in Yuliang County is exactly the same as the early behavior of the spirit tribe in Forbidden Love. There must be some relationship between the two. The interaction between reality and dreams is inevitable. Lin Chuan already knows this. What needs to be clarified now is what is the relationship between the three dream reincarnation worlds of perfect female demon lord Prince Zhonghu and Forbidden Love and the nine-phase realm. Forbidden Love, in the dream reincarnation, he got an important clue. Beyond Tianyuan continent is the nine-phase realm. From this point of view, the worlds in the three dream reincarnations may be small worlds that exist attached to the nine-phase realm. Maybe there is another deviation. Lin Chuan considers himself a novice, and his understanding of this vast world is still very shallow. Maybe the three worlds exist in other forms. Lin Yang smiled and said, "The Demon Slayer division has invited us to arrest the rebellious spirit tribe together. Do you think we should agree?" Lin Chuan thought for a moment and nodded. "Of course I agree." Lin Yang was surprised. "Don't you dislike disputes? This matter is not trivial. If you get involved, you may not be able to escape." Lin Chuan's purpose is very simple. Since the spirit tribe has appeared, he should follow this clue and find something unexpected. Speaking of which, we are also an ancestor of the spiritual tribe. If the rebellious spirit tribe in Yushui County really came from the same origin as the spirit tribe in the dream reincarnation, it would actually be a boost to him. If this is true, it means that what is reflected in reality in the dream cycle is not only the part of the reward given by the system, but also the rewards given by the system. The entire world of reincarnation is a huge wealth to him. This kind of good thing must be clarified. Of course, you can't say that to your sister. Lin Chuan said seriously. "Sister, look, what kind of force is the Demon Slayer division? It is a monk organization directly under the imperial power. Looking at the Yan dynasty, who wouldn't give the Demon Slayer division some face? After establishing a relationship with the Demon Slayer division, the future will be brighter." Lin Chuan paused for analysis. "I hit it off with Lin Yang. It seems that our siblings have a good understanding of each other." "I think so too. As long as we have a good relationship with the Demon Slayer division, Lin's business will not worry about its development. The current strength of the siblings is already equivalent to that of the three marks Demon Slayers of the Demon Slayer division, and their status is not low. After all, the highest level of a Demon Slayer resident in a county is only the 5th level." Lin Chuan asked, "When does the Demon Slayer division require us to respond?" "There is no time requirement," Lin Yang said. "The people from the Demon Slayer division said that if we are willing to help, we can go to the county and complete the assessment and registration to obtain the status of a private Demon Slayer. Being an exorcist has many benefits. Not only can you receive official salary, but your work is also much more relaxed. Local officials have to make it easier for them. All in all, the Demon Slayer has the royal power to slay, and he has the qualification to kill first and then report. Private demon exterminators are slightly weaker, but they still have far more privileges than ordinary government officials." This was regarded as a means for the imperial court to win over civilian monks. In this way, it not only reduced the chaos among the people, but also strengthened the power of the court. All it cost was some cultivation resources, and the court was naturally happy. "In that case, let's pick a day and let's go to the county town." Lin Chuan didn't want to use the power of the Yan court to solve the dilemma she encountered. She alone could not negotiate with the top leaders of the spirit clan. In a short period of time, he will not enter dream reincarnation again. Dreams reflected reality, adding a lot more things for him to consider. It was no longer just enjoyment, but he also had more responsibilities. Even if you turn on the dream, you can no longer match the beauty. Yun Ziyi, Mo Sengyu, and Tushan Zhaozhao alone were enough to give him a headache, and another one was too much to bear. The next dream cycle must be carefully considered. A distant place, Tianyuan State. Wuyu Mountain, the holy land of the spirit clan. The majestic ancient buildings stand on the top of the mountains, surrounded by dense clouds and thousands of auspicious colors. On the highest peak that goes straight into the sky, two lifelike statues stand proudly at the top, overlooking the mountains. Under the statue, there is a magnificent hall. Its name is the Spiritual Temple. The master of the spiritual temple of each generation has the same status as the leader of the spiritual clan. The two check and balance each other to prevent one from becoming dominant. This is also the basis for the development of the spiritual race. At the highest point of the spiritual temple, two bright life tablets are suspended. The two life cards represent the life status of Yi Shui, the first leader of the spirit clan, and Tu Shan Yuming, the first leader of the spirit temple. These two people are also the strongest people in the spiritual clan today. Further down, there are many life cards, some are broken, some are dim, and there are also many bright ones. The light emitted by the life cards will be directed to a soul lamp on the table. In front of the hall, an old man with gray hair was taking a rest with his eyes slightly closed. The soul lamp on the table suddenly became much brighter. The old man suddenly opened his eyes and looked at the lit soul lamp with a look of disbelief on his face. Bright, Ancestor Tushan's soul lamp is on. The old man was as happy as a child at this moment. Swish, swish, swish. In an instant, more than a dozen figures arrived one after another and landed outside the spiritual temple. Their expressions were exactly the same as those of the old man, in disbelief. Those who can come to the spiritual temple are all high-ranking elders of the spiritual clan and have extremely high prestige in the outside world. But when they saw the lit soul lamp, these clan elders either cried with joy, looked heavy, or stood still. It was enough to see how shocking this scene was to them. 3,000 years. 3,000 years have passed. Ancestor Tushan's soul lamp is on again. Hurry, go and ask the second ancestor to come out of seclusion. The second ancestor mentioned by the elders was the first master of the spiritual temple, and the only descendant of Ancestor Wuyu and Ancestor Tushan, Tushan Yuming. The other second ancestor is Yi Shui, the first leader of the spirit clan. Etc. An old man frowned and said, Second Patriarch Yuming is approaching the end of his life and is in retreat at a critical moment. Do not disturb him. This person is the current deputy head of the Hall of Heroes of the spirit clan and has a very high status. What should we do? Everyone looked at each other. Let's find Ancestor Yi Shui first. The deputy palace master sighed. Although Yi Shizu has never been involved in the affairs of the Temple of Heroes, now is the critical moment and I can only find her. The group of people went straight to the mountain peak where Yi Shui lived. As the second ancestor here, the Tushan ancestor soul lamp is on. I don't know the reason. Please ask the second ancestor to come out to solve the mystery. A group of old men and women knelt in front of the mountain gate, calling out to the second ancestor. This scene had an extremely strong impact on the juniors of the spirit clan. There was no response from the mountain. No matter how many requests the spirit clan made, there was still no movement. The deputy palace master had a bad premonition in his heart. Yu Mingzu is approaching his end, and so is Yi Shizu. If something goes wrong while Yi Shizu is in seclusion, it will be a huge loss to the spiritual clan. After receiving no response after repeated requests, the deputy palace master bowed his head and said in a deep voice, Second ancestor, I'm offended. After that, he took a step towards the top of the mountain. The deputy hall master took the lead, and the other clan elders followed suit. A group of people came to the top of the mountain. The place where Yi Shui lives is very simple, with only a small wooden house and a huge stone monument standing not far away. This is the first time for the juniors to come to the mountain peak where Yi Shui lives. Second ancestor, are you here? The deputy palace master knelt down again, but still no one responded. There is no breath of life in the perception. Yexue Zhu may have been traveling a long time ago. A lampkeeper at the Temple of Heroes said, I pay attention to it every day. The life cards of the two second ancestors are very bright and dazzling. They definitely don't look like people who are about to die. They should have gone out. The deputy palace master smiled bitterly. It seems that we can only handle this matter ourselves. The group of people searched around the mountain without giving up, trying to find a way to contact Yi Shui, but found nothing. The only thing left by Yi Shui was the huge stone tablet. A poem is engraved on the stone tablet. Wanjin Mingzhu sheds tears, wishing we had met before she was married. After reading this sentence, the clan elders were stunned. In their impression, Yi Shizu was an extremely cold and arrogant person, a hero among women. As his name suggests, he was as unkind as Yi Rushui. Yi Shizu never married and had no Taoist partner. Not even close to anyone. At first, everyone in the spirit tribe thought that Yi Shizu and Yu Mingzhu were in love with each other, but later they learned that Yu Mingzhu was still a baby when Yi Shizu became famous. In the eyes of younger generations, the two are tied as the second ancestor, but in reality they are worlds apart. If it's true love, it's forbidden love. It turns out that Yi Shizu is also a crazy person. The deputy palace master sighed. If I hadn't accidentally gone up the mountain this time, I might never have known about it. Another ancestor said. Perhaps Yi Shizu met the person he wanted to spend his life with a long time ago, but unfortunately that person already had a heart for him, and Yi Shizu could only meet him late. 3,000 years have passed, and it is impossible to trace who that person was. It's not good. It's not good. Just as everyone was lamenting Yi Shui's infatuation, the lampkeeper's call came from the other side of the spiritual temple. Soul lamp. The soul lamp has flown away. The words of the lampkeeper made the eyes of the old men and women of the spirit race go dark, as if they saw a coffin covering their heads. If Ancestor Yu Ming knew that the ancestor soul lamp was missing, he would be beaten to death. When they arrived at the spirit temple, the ancestor's soul lamp was nowhere to be seen. How can it be? The deputy palace master fell to his knees with a plop. The ancestor's soul lamp is protected by the magical powers set down by Ancestor Yu Ming and Ancestor Yi Shui, and is blessed by the luck of the entire spirit clan. Even a strong man from the legendary realm cannot take it away in person. How could it be? How could it be so missing? The group of people could not accept the fact and looked pale. The lantern keeper said in fear, "Dear clan elders, have you ever thought about another possibility? The soul lamp was not taken away, but returned to the body of the ancestor." The deputy palace master's eyes widened. You mean the ancestor? She has recovered. The lampkeeper nodded. It's not impossible. After 3,000 years of luck and nourishment of the spiritual clan, the ancestor has already made countless merits and deeds. It's time for recovery. I hope so. The deputy palace master sighed. Otherwise I would have been punished by death. The lampkeeper said. The top priority is to find the clan leader and the palace master, let them make a decision, and then send someone to the Tushan clan to inform them of the matter. The development of the spirit clan has a history of 3,000 years. Today's spirit clan has already left Tianyuan state and is bound to spread the spirit clan's ideas throughout the 9 phases realm. The Eldar still have a long way to go. Every clan leader and spiritual temple master is also doing their best to help the development of the clan. However, as the ethnic group develops and grows, more and more disadvantages are revealed. The natures of living creatures are different, and not all spiritual tribes are inclined towards peace. Occasionally an Eldar would initiate a war. There are even elves who will kill demons and humans. This is what is bound to happen. The top leaders of the spirit clan have tried their best to stop it, but it is impossible to completely prevent it. No matter how strong the spirit clan is, it is only strong in a few realms. The overlords of the 9-phase realm are still the human race and the demon race. Even the dragon clan, phoenix clan and other ancient great clans are not comparable to the spirit clan. Having angered the peerless powers of those races, the Eldar race is in danger. The old lantern keeper prayed silently. I hope the ancestor will really return, and together with the 2 second ancestors, the spirit clan can return to the right track. All the clan elders left quickly. The little lampkeeper said, Master, do you think Ancestor Wuyu will really be reincarnated? Will he still remember the spiritual clan in the future? Will do. The old lantern keeper smiled. Ancestor Wuyu and Tushan are the foundation of the spiritual clan. The spiritual clan can only be established because of their blessings. After they left, the spirit clan responded to them with 3,000 years of good fortune. Boy, do you know how deep this bond is? Don't underestimate it. Disciple, please remember this. The little lampkeeper nodded vigorously. He remembered another thing and asked curiously, Master, I heard that there was another hero who founded the spiritual clan. Like Ancestor Wuyu, he was from the human race. Yes, that person's name is Yan Baikong. The old lantern keeper recalled the past, and the stories were passed down from generation to generation. The stories about his ancestors were all told to him by his master when he was a child. Yan Baikong is an incredible person. Since the death of ancestor Wu Yu, Yan Baikong has been the well-deserved strongest man in Tianyuan continent of that generation. He created a lot of legends. I heard that he left after breaking through the legendary realm. Many people said that he was a friend of ancestor Wu Yu and wanted to find the reincarnation of ancestor Wu Yu. Qingyunzhou, Yuliang County. After many days of journey, the Lin siblings and Xiao Rumeng successfully arrived at the county town. This is Lin Chuan's first visit to the county. As the main city of a county, it is indeed much more prosperous than a small place like Yushui County, but Lin Chuan has no intention of enjoying the beautiful scenery. The two siblings had a clear goal and headed straight to the Demon Slayer Division station. The location of the Demon Slaying Division is extremely mysterious, and no one knows about it except for a few people including the local county guard and county lieutenants. Their siblings' talents were valued by the Demon Slayer Division, which was why they had this special case. Virtual space. Mo Sengyu looked at Lin Chuan entering the county town with a smile on his face. Get ready. My husband is coming. As long as you perform well, the reward is not a problem. In front of the inn not far away, a good show started on a stage that had been set up long ago. The storyteller sat in the audience, with a rich voice, and told a story. Dear spectators, the story I am going to tell you today is about the love and hatred between the cold-faced demon lord and the sword god in white. Don't miss it if you pass by, it's guaranteed to be absolutely wonderful. Lin Chuan, who happened to be passing by, subconsciously paused. What? During this meal, he suddenly had a bad premonition. My secret is revealed. A beautiful woman is planning to bed me. Virtual space. Mo Sengyu felt happy when he saw Lin Chuan, whose footsteps subconsciously stopped. Sure enough, my husband has not forgotten all the memories of his past life. I will definitely be able to wake him up. The storyteller and the stage were decorated by people sent by Mo Sengyu. This was a test for Lin Chuan. After Lin Chuan stopped subconsciously, he also realized that this was a test, but it was too late. If you continue to pretend to leave as if nothing happened, it will look very deliberate. So you can still play like this. Lin Chuan had no choice but to pretend to be hit in the head by the arrow of fate, walking slower and slower, turning back 3 times every step. Sister, can you wait a moment? Finally, Lin Chuan stopped and looked towards the stage. I want to hear Mr. finish telling this story. This story sounds very cliché. I can guess the ending even from the beginning. Don't listen to it. The Demon Slayer Division's business is important. Lin Yangyang didn't quite understand. My little brother has never listened to any books, so why does he want to listen to stories now? Lin Chuan was ashamed and wanted to remind his sister to take it easy. Mo Sengyu's demon lord form makes no sense at all. He is capable of murdering his own husband. If you dare to say clichés again, I'm afraid you'll have to sleep with your eyes open tonight. Sister, just leave it alone. Lin Chuan pushed Lin Yangyang. It's up to you to make the decision regarding the Demon Slayer Division. Your words are mine, so go ahead. Xiao Rumeng sat on Lin Chuan's shoulder. Aunt, I'm not leaving either. I want to accompany my father to listen to stories. You guys. Lin Yangyang sighed softly, unable to resist the father and daughter, and left alone. Lin Chuan hugged Xiao Rumeng, sat down at the table closest to the storyteller, and began to listen to this twisting story. From time to time, I had to pretend to be in a trance. Yunji, who was hiding in another void, became anxious. Fierce witch. This is obviously a scam. If Akwon awakens the memory of his life with the Red Witch first, with the Red Witch's temperament, he will definitely devote himself further to seduce Akwon. Then you won't have a chance. Why didn't I think of this move? Yun Ziyi was very upset. No, I have to hurry up, there is still a chance. The divine sword of Cloud Heart is in Akwon's hand. It can be forged with my blood. I will use it to awaken Akwon. It was the witch who broke the rules first, you can't blame me. A plan was generated in Yun Ziyi's mind. Under the stage, the storyteller told the story vividly and passionately, and several spectators actually shed tears. Of course, the one who cried the hardest was Lin Chuan. Originally, he didn't want to cry, but passers-by were crying. As the protagonist, it was really inappropriate for him not to cry. So Lin Chuan pinched his thigh fiercely and burst into tears. The clouds hidden in the void know the state of mind, their little mouths are whispering, and their mouths are spitting out fragrance. Ba, ba, ba. Cliché, cliché, cliché. Disgusting, disgusting, disgusting. Ah Chuan, you must not fall. When the storyteller mentioned that the demon king's weakness was discovered and the sword god met the gentle version, Mo Sangyu for the first time, Lin Chuan's tiger body trembled and he stood stunned on the spot. At this moment, his acting skills are comparable to those of a movie king. The demon lord shed tears when he saw it. The sun sets. The story reaches its second climax, which is the second meeting between the sword god in white and Mo Sangyu. It was getting late, and many of the spectators had been called back to eat by their mothers-in-law, and there were only a few people in the audience. Only Lin Chuan sat there and never moved a step. Xiao Rumeng's eyes were bright and she pretended to understand. By the time the story reached the last section, when the sword god in white sacrificed his life to merge the two personalities of the demon king, Lin Chuan was the only one left in the audience. The story ends here. Lin Chuan sat on a chair and pondered for a long time before suddenly raising his hands and applauding. Okay, well said, Weezin. When applauding, he was excited and his eyes were red. The storyteller got off the stage, came to Lin Chuan, and asked with a smile, Master, why did you say yes? Lin Chuan's heart tightened. Why is there a post-game Q&A? Just now, he remembered a very important question. Mo Sangyu was looking at him, and Yun Ziyi was probably also there. By cooperating with Mo Sangyu just now, didn't he offend the little childhood sweetheart Yun Ziyi to death? Too difficult. It's really about surviving in the cracks and surviving to the extreme. Every turn is a fatal turn. But at this moment, Lin Chuan didn't care so much anymore and wanted to coax Mo Sangyu into peace first. The story you told me always seems familiar to me. It feels like I have heard it before somewhere, but I can't remember it. It's really strange. Lin Chuan said seriously. The storyteller stroked his beard and smiled. It seems that the young master is also a person with stories. Lin Chuan shook his head. I'm a newbie and have never seen the world. I have only eaten and slept in my life. How can I be considered a person with stories? That's not a lie. His experiences are all in dreams and late-night emo fantasy stories. Can they be considered life experiences? The storyteller changed the subject. Does the young master believe in past and present lives? Lin Chuan's toes suddenly scratched the ground. So cruel. Even this kind of problem comes up. I don't know whether I should believe it or not. Please clarify my doubts, sir. The storyteller straightened his posture and said, in folklore, there is a saying that some things a person experienced in his previous life will appear in his dreams. Those stories in your dreams that do not belong to this life, those people you have never met, and the places you have never been to, may all come from your past life. There is also a sense of déjà vu, and it is also the memory of the past life that is pouring out. The mystery of the soul is unimaginable. It can carry many beautiful things. The story told by the old man can resonate with the young master. Perhaps it is because the young master also has such a story in his previous life. After that, the storyteller cheerfully added, I don't dare to speak nonsense, I just want you to listen and be happy. Lin Chuan's brows furrowed deeper and deeper, his hands began to clench uncontrollably, his teeth clenched, and blue veins popped out. This state lasted for some time. He covered his head with both hands again and lay on the table, making a look of struggle. It took a long time for Lin Chuan to return to normal. The storyteller was startled, but he didn't want to cause any trouble to his employer's husband. Sir, are you okay? Fine. Lin Chuan cupped his hands and said, thank you, Mr. Xie, for clearing up the confusion. There's no need to say thank you. It's just fine, sir. The storyteller stroked his beard and smiled again, turned and left. Lin Chuan was still sitting there, as if he was trying to remember something, but he was smiling from the bottom of his heart. Wasn't this trying to take advantage of the lady's heart? Virtual space. Mo Sangyu, who witnessed the whole process, was extremely satisfied with Lin Chuan's performance, and the smile on his face expressed his high recognition. If that stinky woman hadn't been watching her, she would have put on her most beautiful clothes tonight and sneaked into her husband's room. Use the body as bait to awaken the husband's memory. Smelly woman, don't let me seize the opportunity. As long as she seizes the opportunity, she will definitely empty out her husband so that he will no longer have the mind to think about other women. All the past and present lives will be killed under the perfect body of this deity. Which, don't forget the agreement between us. An inappropriate voice sounded in Mo Sangyu's ears. Not long ago, the two of them agreed not to get close to Lin Chuan again, and would make their own decisions after Lin Chuan's memory awakened. But Mo Sangyu never intended to abide by the agreement. The one I promised you is gentle Mo Sangyu. What does it have to do with me, the demon lord Mo Sangyu? Smelly woman, I will definitely win you this time. It's not certain who will lose and who will win. Naturally, Yun Ziyi would not give in. She could allow Ah Chuan to marry Xiao, but she would never tolerate herself and the witch living under the same roof. A dispute between two women. Lin Chuan in the county town had already taken Xiao Rumong away from the storytelling stage and came to a house. The Lin family's business is growing day by day. In order to facilitate things, Lin Yangyang also purchased some shops and real estate in the county town. Chuaner, you're finally back. As soon as the door opened, the stone tables in the courtyard were filled with sumptuous dishes. The three of them were sitting around the table. In addition to Sister Lin Yangyang, there was also a man and a woman, all dressed in the costumes of the Demon Slayer division. Both of them are four-marked demon slayers. Corresponds to the monks who practice the realm of rebirth among the 8 realms of practice. These two are the resident demon slayers of Yuliang County, fellow Taoist Pei Yinyi and fellow Taoist Yu Hilan. I met 2 fellow Taoists. Strange monks usually refer to each other as Taoist friends. Lin Chuan followed suit and gradually got used to some of the rules in the spiritual world. Fellow Taoist Lin Chuan, I have long admired your great name. Pei Yinyi smiled and cupped his fists in return. Although he is in a higher realm than Lin Chuan, he is not arrogant at all, because he knows very well what talent the 18-year-old soaring realm means. Not to mention that the young man in front of me is a real swordsman. Yu Hilan smiled and said, the Yan dynasty has not seen a real sword cultivator for a long time. I didn't expect that one would appear in Yuliang County. I am really lucky. Both of you win the prize. Lin Chuan humbly handed over. He has understood the definition of sword cultivator in Jushanji. It seems that only swordsmen who understand the meaning of the sword can be called sword cultivators. Others can only be described as swordsmen, or a monk with a sword. Lin Chuan had a headache. He had to pretend to be a bad guy when he was exterminating the demon that day, and he was labeled as a sword cultivator. He couldn't even take it off. If he did it again, he would not be able to use such perfect swordsmanship skills. From now on, we can be regarded as colleagues. I would like to toast you all. I also ask fellow Taoists to take care of you on your way to practice. Pei Yinyi was born rough and generous. The 4 of them raised their glasses together and took a sip. Sit down and get back to the topic. Yu Hilan said sternly. Let me talk about this mission to capture the spirit tribe. The spider web has already investigated the intelligence clearly. The spirit clan is not a local force in Qingyan Prefecture, but a foreign force. The so-called spirit clan is an organization established by a group of half-demon people. The original intention was to resist the oppression of humans and demons. Some spirit tribes have gone too far. Their hatred of humans and demons has deepened, and they have gone so far as to sow discord between demons and humans. For many years, the demon clan and the human race in Qingyan Prefecture have lived in peace and harmony. Only some naughty little demons have made trouble, which is not worth mentioning. But under the instigation of the spirit clan, the warlike nature of the demon clan was aroused, and there was a faint intention to start another war with the human clan. The purge of the Eldar is imminent. Yu Hilan described the next mission plan in an orderly manner. There are 2 spirits that our team is responsible for capturing in this operation. They are Yu Xiaorao, who has the blood of the 9-tailed fox clan, and Kui Shuangsheng, who has the blood of the Sirius. Both targets are in the realm of rebirth. The former is very good at disguise and has strong mental charm ability, which is quite difficult to deal with. Kui Shuangsheng is not bad. Apart from being faster, he doesn't have many advantages. For these 2 spirit tribes, the request from above is to capture them alive. After all, they have not participated in any evil actions. The main purpose from above is to use them to contact the strong men of the spirit tribe and resolve conflicts. This is detailed information about the target, please take a look. After saying that, Yu Hilin handed the 2 files to Lin Chuan and Lin Yangyang. The strength of the Lin siblings has been verified. Although they are only in the soaring sky realm, they have the ability to contain the reborn realm. Having an extra helper is very important for the demon slayer performing the mission. Lin Chuan took the file, and he only glanced at the information about Kui Shuangsheng of the serious bloodline without much interest. In contrast, the information about Yu Xiaorao, who has the bloodline of the 9-tailed fox, is much more careful. If this spirit race really comes from the same origin as the spirit race in Forbidden Love, then maybe Yu Xiaorao is related to him. Let me help deal with this Yu Xiaorao. Lin Chuan volunteered. This, Yu Hilin said. Have you thought about it, fellow Taoist Lin? Yu Xiaorao's charm is far more lethal to men than it is to women. According to the Demon Slayer Division's plan, it was her and Lin Yangyang's turn to deal with Yu Xiaorao. Lin Chuan chuckled lightly. With a sword in my hand, I can kill mortal fox monsters and pink skeletons. They can't shake my sword heart. Brother Lin is so courageous. Pei Yinyi laughed and praised. The reason why Lin Chuan really chose Yu Xiaorao was naturally because he contained Tushan's delicate soul. Tushan Jiaojiao was the 9-tailed fox with the purest bloodline in the Tianyuan continent of Forbidden Love at that time. A mere little mixed-race fox, not a bit tempting. This is Lin Chuan's confidence. Regardless of whether the dream has anything to do with the spiritual race in reality, Tushan Jiaojiao's soul cannot be faked. Pei Yinyi and Yu Hilin also chose to believe in Lin Chuan. This is respect for a swordsman. After 3 rounds of drinking, the 2 demon slayers said goodbye and left. Lin Yangyang had to deal with the business of the trading company, while Lin Chuan practiced his sword alone in the courtyard. Cloud Heart Divine Sword. Unsheath. The Yongsan Divine Sword in the dream followed him to show its power. In reality, the power exerted is less than 1/10,000th. After nearly a month of idle practice in dream reincarnation, Lin Chuan had a lot of inspiration to digest, and he broke through the realm quickly. Virtual space. Yun Ziyi's eyes were bright and she clenched her pink fists. Finally, it's my turn. Witch, you are still playing tricks on me, but you don't know that I have already been connected with A Chuan. How can you guard against it? Yun Ziyi sacrificed a drop of his heart's blood. In terms of combat power, she is not as good as the witch. In terms of luck, and achievements in cause and effect, she is confident that she is superior to the witch. Heart and blood are connected. Lin Chuan, who was practicing his sword, felt that the sword in his hand was getting smoother, and some pictures appeared in his mind unconsciously. That was the scene in the dream of Prince Zhonghu where he and Xiao Qingmei Yunji were deeply affectionate, flirting with each other, and practicing swordsmanship. Hallucination. In just a moment, Lin Chuan rejected this idea. During the day, Mo Sengyu set up the stage, asked the gentleman to tell stories, and gave him crazy hints. At night, he practiced sword practice and had another hallucination about Yun Ziyi. How could there be such a coincidence? It must have been that Mrs. Xiao Qingmei's jealousy was overturned, and she blew the clarion call for a counterattack at Mo Sengyu. Destroy it. Tired, Lin Chuan wanted to lie down on the bed and let the 2 ladies resolve this endless dispute on their own initiative. When will days like this end? When he first traveled through time, Lin Chuan's dream was very simple, just marry a beautiful and capable wife. Now I have 3 marriages, but I have not experienced 3 times the happiness at all. Helpless Lin Chuan could only pretend to be immersed in practicing swordsmanship with Yun Ziyi. Unexpectedly, as he practiced, he really felt the pleasure of having a clear sword mind, and his swordsmanship skills became more and more exquisite. Aha, it turns out that the biggest cheat the system gave me was my ladies. This is a rare opportunity. Lin Chuan had no time to care about the mood of another irritable woman, and began to experience the magical effect of the Yongsan Divine Sword. After a while, he was really immersed in it. It wasn't until the end of the night and dawn that the wonderful feeling slowly dissipated. One night of sword practice seems to be worth several months of hard work. Virtual space. As soon as Yun Ziyi's painstaking energy dissipated, an angry roar rang in his ears. You cunning villain. You stinky woman. You used despicable means to get close to your husband. The source of the roar was Mo Sengyu, who discovered the clue. Didn't you, a fierce witch, break the rules first? We agreed to let my husband awaken his memory on his own, but you shamelessly made up a story about your past life memories and told it to your husband. You broke the rules first, don't blame me. Yun Ziyi replied. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Naturally, Mo Sengyu would not admit it. To sum it up in one sentence, it was not me, the demon lord Mo Sengyu, who did it. If you want to find it, just go find the man in blue clothes. Yun Ziyi hummed, anyway, I don't break the rules. My husband and I are heart to heart. It's not the turn of you, a fierce witch, to point fingers. I suppressed you. Mo Sengyu instantly entered extreme red temperature mode. Yun Ziyi sneered, it's so cruel. No wonder my husband can't connect with you. I advise you to reflect on yourself. Am I fierce? Can't you be heart to heart with your husband? Mo Sengyu's eyes suddenly turned to Lin Chuan, who had just finished sword practice and looked happy and contented. I can't do anything to that stinky woman. Is there nothing I can do to you? If the stinky woman has a heart to heart with you, then I want it too. Feeling that he had been treated extremely unfairly, Mo Sengyu suddenly disappeared from the spot and landed in the courtyard below in an instant. Lin Chuan felt his eyes go dark, and he had no time to react before he fell into the soft flesh, and the familiar fragrance hit his nostrils. Demon Lord Mo Sengyu. Lin Chuan could not forget being tortured by Mo Sengyu's demonic personality for so long. Even though at the end of the story, Mo Sengyu's two personalities have merged and he is regarded as her husband, the fierceness of the Demon Lord's personality is still inevitable. Fierce witch, you don't obey the rules. Another familiar voice pierced my ears like thunder, approaching from far away, as if chasing. It seems that the two ladies have been grudges for a long time, and they have also made a series of rules to compete for themselves. This made Lin Chuan dumbfounded. Rule. Demon Lord Mo Sengyu doesn't know how to follow any rules. The little green plum lady is still too young. Lin Chuan was unable to resist, and was held in Mo Sengyu's arms. With a pair of mountains pressing down on him, he could only drift with the tide. Fortunately, I have entered the world of spiritual practice. Otherwise, he would have to be muffled to death. After a long time, the chasing Yun Zi seemed to be thrown away. Mo Sengyu finally stopped running and landed on a quiet and deserted hilltop. Lin Chuan was let go. The familiar figure came into view again. Buzz. Lin Chuan was stunned on the spot. Compared to dream reincarnation, the impact of his encounter with Mo Sengyu in reality was too strong. In the reincarnation of dreams, Mo Sengyu was labeled with the entry, perfect. Coming to the real world, it is still the same. She is not as perfect as a woman on earth, but even better than an immortal in heaven. There was even a moment that made Lin Chuan feel ashamed. There was only one imperfection about Mo Sengyu. It's that uncontrollable dual personality. Countless thoughts intertwined in Lin Chuan's mind, but in the end there was only one thought left. This is my old Po. Just having this thought is enough. With excited hearts and trembling hands, Best Actor Lin Chuan is online again. Girl, you. Who are you? Why did you kidnap me here? Lin Chuan's eyes were full of confusion and ignorance. Mo Sengyu asked, you really don't remember me? Lin Chuan shook his head. The girl was joking. I have never met the girl, so how can I remember her? If I have seen her before, I will definitely not forget her with her appearance that surpasses that of a fairy. Mo Sengyu frowned, look at me carefully. Are you really unable to remember? Lin Chuan wanted to recognize him but he couldn't. With the current state of Mo Sengyu and Yun Ziyi, after he recognized one, the other would definitely fight him to death. It is even more impossible to admit both, and the death will be even worse. Lin Chuan doesn't want to die young yet. Girl, don't make fun of me. I really don't remember. Maybe you got the wrong person. You heartless man. Mo Sengyu stepped forward, his body already pressed against Lin Chuan's chest, and his two faces were almost touching each other. Take a closer look. Who am I? Lin Chuan swallowed. Lady, don't do this. I can't stand it. We are not made of iron, but sometimes we can make iron. You are. Lin Chuan went crazy when he was indecisive. Lin Chuan used a trick to pretend to have a headache, covered his head and started rolling on the ground. Trying to get by with cuteness. I have to say, this trick is indeed effective. Without external stimulation, Mo Sangyu's red clothes gradually faded away, and she turned back to the gentle Mo Sangyu. Forget it if you can't remember it. Even her voice became much gentler. Mo Sangyu, in a blue dress, helped Lin Chuan up and smiled, I believe you will remember me. As you said, we will be together forever and ever, and we will never forget each other in reincarnation. After saying that, Mo Sangyu grabbed Lin Chuan's hand and pressed it against his chest. Can you feel it? My heart, and your heart. Our hearts are always connected, right? The gentle Mo Sangyu, the purest Bai Yugong, are so well behaved that it makes people feel distressed, and their voices directly touch Lin Chuan's soul. As far as Lin Chuan was concerned, Mo Sangyu in this state was thousands of times more lethal than the demon lord. He almost admitted it, but in this case, Lin Chuan could only pretend to be dumbfounded and stay silent. The next moment, Mo Sangyu pulled Lin Chuan in front of him with a strong pull. He pointed his fingers in the void and transformed into a sword. It was the sword of destiny used by Lin Chuan in the dream reincarnation of perfect female demon lord, the burning silence divine sword. Mo Sangyu took Lin Chuan and stepped on the sword, and the two of them rode the sword straight into the sky. Sword flying, what a boy's dream. Do you still remember? Mo Sangyu asked, do you remember this sword? Do you remember anything? Lin Chuan sighed, it seems familiar, but I can't remember it. Maybe I saw it in my dream. Mo Sangyu was not angry. This answer is at least better than not remembering anything at all. After a long time, the two returned to Yuliang County in Qingyan Prefecture and returned to the Lin family mansion. Before Lin Chuan could react, Mo Sangyu pounced on him, kissed his lips gently, and parted at the first touch. Remember, I am your wife. One day, you think of me and call my name loudly. I will always be by your side. If you can't remember, then forget today. Forget everything. You and I will forget each other in reincarnation. After all, Mo Sangyu couldn't accept spending his life with a strange Lin Chuan. When the words fell, she had disappeared. Only then did Yun Zi catch up. Looking at Mo Sangyu in a blue dress, she felt strange. The same person, but with a completely different temperament. But the anger in her heart was still difficult to suppress. Which, you broke the rules. I know. Mo Sangyu nodded, can you listen to me for a few words? What else do you want to say? Yun Zi said coldly. We met my husband in different time and space. It's no one's fault. It was God's will. I can't blame my husband for this. Mo Sangyu said quietly. No matter who my husband thinks of first, he will definitely be in pain when he thinks of the second person. This pain should not be borne by the husband. I know you have a lot to talk to your husband, but for your husband, he has experienced enough today, so don't stimulate him anymore. You can go another day and I won't stop you. You use a secret method to connect with his sword heart, and I won't stop you. If one day, my husband thinks of me first, I will give you a chance. That's all. After that, Mo Sangyu escaped into space and left. It seems that the fierce witch has a big secret hidden in her body. Is it a split soul? Yun Zi was thoughtful. The witch's personality is simply at two extremes. The witch in red clothes is an out-and-out lunatic, unable to communicate at all, but in blue clothes she is quite gentle. After thinking again and again, Yun Zi did not go down to find Lin Chuan. As the witch said, there will be no benefit in looking for Akwan at this moment. It will only drive Akwan crazy, who has lost the memory of his previous life. ... Time flies by in the blink of an eye. 7 days later. Lin Chuan and Lin Yangyang received secret orders from the Demon Slayer Division. The operation to capture the Eldar will begin at midnight tonight. During the 7 days, Lin Chuan often practiced swordplay and got used to the Yongsan Divine Sword a lot, and his swordsmanship was far beyond what he had before. What makes Lin Chuan most happy is the reconciliation between the two ladies, Mo Sangyu and Yun Zi. The two ladies seemed to have reached some kind of agreement secretly, allowing him to live a peaceful life. There are still many mysteries that need to be solved by Lin Chuan, and it is far from time to recognize the two ladies. The simplest question, he couldn't figure out which of the two met first. Not to mention that there is Tushan Zhaozhao, who is more difficult to deal with. Lin Chuan made a bold assumption. Assuming that he in the dream reincarnation is his true self, then everything cannot happen on the same timeline. Maybe I have already experienced reincarnation again and again. The so-called dream reincarnation system only reflects what happened in reincarnation into his current dream. Even time travel and systems have appeared, and nothing is impossible. Lin Chuan can accept a wide range of settings. If you are bolder, the system may have the ability to forcibly change the time and space of the world. Before clarifying the matter, how could Lin Chuan recognize it? In a short period of time, he has no plans to start the dream again, so he must be well prepared. In their thoughts, the siblings had arrived at the meeting place with the demon-slaying envoys Pei Yinyi and Yu Hilan. Pei Yinyi pointed to a mansion not far away. The targets Yu Xiaorao and Kui Shuangsheng are both there. They pretend to be a couple and do business in the city. Their lives are no different from real human beings. There are still 16 servants in the mansion, all of them mortals. When taking action, you must focus on capturing the spirit tribe. Those servants are at the mercy of their fate. Don't be soft-hearted when you need to be cruel. If we miss the opportunity, more people will be killed by the spirit tribe's troublemakers. The two demon slayers gave instructions. Lin Chuan and Lin Yangyang nodded, knowing which one was more important. Walk. The four of them quickly moved towards the mansion. Just as they approached the mansion, the outer wall of the mansion shattered, and a huge wolf claw swept out from the wall, seeming to tear the four people apart. Why are you forcing us? We just want a normal life. Kui Shuangsheng transformed into a giant wolf and roared. Don't talk nonsense with the Eldar. Do it. Pei Yinyi quickly pulled out his sword and took the initiative to greet him. Lin Yangyang held his sword and swept the formation aside, waiting for the opportunity to make a move. Yu Hilan and Lin Chuan chased after Yu Xiaorao, who fled quickly from the other end. The two elves were obviously prepared and aware of the crisis. Fortunately, neither of the two spirit tribes wanted to kill ordinary people. Otherwise, if they had to escape in the county and city, many mortals would suffer. Yu Hilan was very fast. While pursuing, she frequently fired hidden weapons in her hands, constantly forcing Yu Xiaorao's position, causing the opponent's speed to drop significantly. Lin Chuan was a step behind, but his speed was not much slower than Yu Hilan, and he followed closely behind. This is the advantage brought by high-level skills. While chasing and escaping, the distance got closer and closer. Yu Hilan's speed suddenly increased. She ducked in front of Yu Xiaorao and intercepted him. I didn't hurt anyone, so why are you chasing after me? Yu Xiaorao stopped running away and stood where he was, without any panic on his face. Yu Hilan said coldly, "You spirit tribe deceives people's hearts and incites monsters to cause chaos. This is a crime. As a spirit tribe, you can't ignore the relationship." Yu Xiaorao smiled and said, "We, the spiritual tribe, just said a few words to make people and monsters follow their nature. How can we bewitched? What is the human heart like? What about demonic nature? Don't you know? They are bound by all kinds of rules and power. The Eldar just unlocked the shackles on their souls." Yu Xiaorao reasoned quietly. Lin Chuan frowned and shouted, "Sister Yu, don't talk nonsense with her, do it." Yu Hilan was suddenly startled. "You nine-tailed fox, I almost got into your trap." Whoosh. As a demon slayer, her mission is to eliminate monsters and cause trouble, but she is not here to reason with the troublemakers. Young master, it's very impolite to interrupt someone. Yu Xiaorao's eyes turned to Lin Chuan. Yu Hilan's expression changed and she reminded, "Be careful, don't look into her eyes." But Lin Chuan's eyes had already collided with Yu Xiaorao's. Yu Xiaorao's eyes were changing, like two will-o'-the-wisps burning, tugging at Lin Chuan's soul. But the next moment, she felt like she was struck by lightning. She saw a nine-tailed fox with pure white hair living on Lin Chuan's sea of consciousness. Just looking at each other, Yu Xiaorao was completely defeated and could no longer control himself. "Go outside the city." Lin Chuan's voice rang in Yu Xiaorao's heart. Yu Xiaorao was shocked and ran straight out of the city. There were thousands of doubts in her heart, but she didn't dare to stop for a moment. Yu Hilan pursued again. The three of them arrived in the wilderness outside the city one after another, and Yu Xiaorao stopped again. Yu Hilan frowned, feeling an ominous premonition. Something seemed to have changed in Yu Xiaorao, but she couldn't identify it. She didn't notice at all that the eyes of Lin Chuan who followed him also changed, and a mental wave shook in an instant. Yu Hilan's vision dimmed, she lost consciousness and fell to the ground. Yu Xiaorao knelt on the ground with a plop, looking at Lin Chuan, who was slowly approaching in horror. You. Who are you? The power of Tushan Zhao's soul has the absolute power to suppress any spiritual race that is not of pure nine-tailed fox blood. It only takes a little strength to greatly increase the strength of the spirit race of the nine-tailed fox bloodline. Lin Chuan controlled Yu Xiaorao and used his magical power to knock Yu Hilan unconscious, so that his next actions could be facilitated. Where are you from? Lin Chuan came to Yu Xiaorao and asked. In front of him, the other party didn't even have a chance to lie. Qingzaozhou. Yu Xiaorao's answer surprised Lin Chuan. Senior, are you also from the spirit clan? No. Lin Chuan shook his head. Tell me, who is the mastermind behind the rebellion in the Yan dynasty? Do you want to see him? Right. Lin Chuan nodded. Judging from Yu Xiaorao's appearance, he didn't know much. If he wanted to find out the truth of the matter, he had to contact a higher-level spiritual tribe. Yu Xiaorao said, this junior has never seen the commander-in-chief. He gives us tasks in secret and will monitor us secretly. Lin Chuan frowned and said again, is the purpose of your spiritual clan that all spirits are equal? Yu Xiaorao bowed his head. Yes, senior, do you have anything to do with our spirit clan? Lin Chuan was thoughtful. Judging from the purpose alone, there is a certain relationship between the Eldar in the dream cycle of forbidden love and the Eldar he meets now. But there is much to ponder. In his previous speculation, the Tian Yuan continent, in the reincarnation was the same as the world of the perfect female demon lord and Prince Zhonghu in the dream reincarnation, and they were all small worlds attached to the existence of the nine-phase realm. Now it seems that is not the case. Forbidden love, at the end of the dream cycle, the spirit tribe was already very powerful in Tianyuan continent, but compared to the nine-phase realm in the real world, it was not worth mentioning. Yi Shui, the strongest among the spiritual clan in Tianyuan continent, is only at the peak of the seventh realm, which is equivalent to the saint realm in the nine phases realm. There are quite a few saints in the nine-phase realm, and there are supreme beings above them. Above the supreme, there is a legendary realm where monks from all 8 realms remain silent. Therefore, it is impossible for the spiritual race in Tianyuan continent to have such a great influence, unless something unexpected happens after he leaves. Who is the ancestor of your Eldar race? Lin Chuan changed the topic and asked another question. I know this. Yu Xiaorao's eyes lit up. I have 2 ancestors of the spirit clan. Neither of them are spirit clan, but they have made indelible contributions to the establishment of the spirit clan. Lin Chuan's eyelids twitched. Yu Xiaorao said seriously. 2 ancestors, one is from the human race and respects ancestor Wuyu, the other is from the nine-tailed fox clan and respects ancestor Tushan. Really, everything is correct. Lin Chuan took a deep breath. It seems that the experience of dream reincarnation extends far beyond the small world, and even the 9 phases realm has been affected. Senior, you don't know my spiritual ancestor, do you? Yu Xiaorao asked curiously. Let's consider it acquaintance. It was not convenient for Lin Chuan to admit it directly. After all, his current state was beyond his reach. Wow, senior, you are so awesome. Yu Xiaorao instantly transformed into a little fangirl. Senior, are you coming to me to revitalize the spiritual clan? Lin Chuan said calmly. Do you think I have this ability? Yu Xiaorao laughed. Senior, you are hiding in the city and playing in the world. You have cultivated for at least 3,000 years. Looking at the world, you must have few opponents. What did you say? Lin Chuan was shocked. 3,000 years. Yu Xiaorao nodded blankly. Yes, you and your ancestors are old acquaintances. It has been more than 3,000 years since you started practicing Taoism. Seeing that Lin Chuan looked wrong, Yu Xiaorao suddenly realized. I understand, senior, you have been in seclusion for too long, watching the vicissitudes of the sea, forgetting the long years, please understand. That's 3,000 years, who would count the days? There are many legends about the supreme power having a dream for hundreds of years. Lin Chuan was no longer entangled. It was obviously useless to talk to Yu Xiaorao. This guy was frightened by Tushan's delicate soul and already regarded him as a supreme master. Let's go, take me to see the spirit clan station, I want to see the commander you mentioned. Lin Chuan tried to calm down. This was an extremely important clue to him. What happened in Tianyuan continent actually happened 3,000 years ago. It's just too far away. 3,000 years have passed. In what way is Tianyuan continent developing after I left the dream world without the protagonist? Is the old friend from 3,000 years ago still alive? In Lin Chuan's heart, thoughts surged like waves. The recent events had a huge impact on him. At the same time, he finally had a complete plan in his mind. How to deal with the relationship between the three ladies has always been his biggest headache. Lin Chuan decided to take this opportunity to solve the problem. It is impossible to hide Tushan Zhaozhao's matter from Mo Sangyu and Yun Ziyi, and they will be discovered sooner or later. He simply took this opportunity to be exposed. After all, it had been so long, and with Mo Sangyu and Yun Ziyi's abilities, they must have known that he had been reincarnated more than once. From the perspective of the two ladies, Lin Chuan needs to awaken the memories of life after life before he can truly recognize them. This is an integral part. But Lin Chuan knew very well that the memories of Mo Sangyu and Yun Ziyi could not be awakened first, otherwise the other party would go crazy. Tushan Zhaozhao's life is completely different. After all, she only has a broken soul left, and the two ladies can't go crazy even if they want to. According to the reincarnation timeline, the love relationship 3,000 years ago was definitely ahead of Mo Sangyu and Yun Ziyi. In this way, both Mo Sangyu and Yun Ziyi can slowly accept this setting. This is Lin Chuan's plan. From giving her a home, to giving them a home. When Lin Chuan has trouble with his conscience, he will scold the system. It's all the dog system's mistake. It has nothing to do with the host. For Mo Sangyu and Yun Ziyi, this incident was also full of shock. My good husband actually has reincarnation. And the beauty. Mo Sangyu almost blushed again. I have been fighting with that stinky woman for so long, but another woman got in first. No, it should be said to be a banshee. It's a vixen. At this moment, Mo Sangyu finally understood why ordinary people always called some women vixens, so why didn't she want to call them vixens? The vixen seduces people's soul. It's absolutely true. But who can be blamed for this? Mo Sangyu had to admit the fact that the vixen was just a remnant soul and had no consciousness at all. The majestic demon lord doesn't even bother to fight with a ray of remnant soul. My husband seems to have awakened the memory of the vixen's life. Perhaps the vixen died early and was reincarnated with my husband. It seems that my husband really wants to resurrect that vixen. For the sake of the vixen, Soaring Sky Realm dares to take such a big risk. Mo Sangyu thought of the past with her husband again. Before his two personalities merged, wouldn't his husband have no hesitation and risk his life to do everything for her? Mo Sangyu was very conflicted. Isn't this kind of Lin Chuan the husband I deeply love? In another space, Yun Ziyi also had mixed feelings in his heart. It turns out there is still another life. It turns out that before he met me, Akwon already had his favorite person, and I was the latecomer. Yun Ziyi didn't want to fight, but the love in her memory didn't allow her to give up here. If I had only a trace of my soul left, Akwon would do the same thing. This is the sense of responsibility deep in Akwon's bones, and it is not his fault. But why? Why should Akwon meet different people in reincarnation? It would be great if it was me from beginning to end. What happened was inevitable. Discuss the deeds but not the heart. At least in the life of Qingyu Blessed Land, Chuan loved himself deeply, unswervingly, and never changed. Yun Ziyi was in a daze, remembering the last battle in the Jade Blessed Land. If I had been the one who fulfilled Chuan's life at that time, what would have been the result? Yun Ziyi's inner thoughts soon became firm. If Akwon had survived after that battle, he would definitely come to my reincarnation and protect me like I protect him, right? That's not right either. I won't be like Chuan, I only want Chuan. I will think of him the first time I see him, even if I smell his scent, so I won't be as stupid as him and not remember me. In the wilderness, Lin Chuan and Yu Xiaorao left at night. Before leaving, he did not forget to create traces of fighting and pursuit nearby. Not long after, Yu Hilan, who was in a coma, opened her eyes in a daze, then suddenly sat up with a startle. Oops! Looking around, there was no trace of Yu Xiaorao and Lin Chuan. Fellow Taoist Lin will not be kidnapped by the spirit clan, right? The idea was quickly dismissed by Yu Hilan. If fellow Taoist Lin was kidnapped, I wouldn't be able to survive. Judging from the traces, fellow Taoist Lin should have chased him. It must have taken a lot of effort for Yu Xiaorao to use that move. Fellow Taoist Lin is a sword cultivator. Even if he fights across levels, he should have hope of winning against a spiritual tribe that doesn't have strong frontal combat power. Yu Hilin prayed in her heart, then took out the cloud piercer arrow from her waist and lit it. Boom! An arrow pierces the clouds, and the demon-slaying envoys come to meet each other. After leaving the signal, Yu Hilin followed the traces and chased him. This is the mission of the Demon Slayer Division. As the Demon Slayer Division, she cannot just give up and let a young genius take risks for her. At the same time, Lin Chuan and Yu Xiaorao had arrived at the Spirit Clan's residence in the Dian dynasty. The station is located in a deep mountain, protected by natural formations, and the strong men of the Spirit Clan have set up additional formations, making it difficult to be discovered. Even the ordinary Eldar cannot come in and out freely. As soon as they arrived in front of the formation, the two of them were blocked by a tiger-shaped half-demon with the word, Wang, on his forehead. Yu Xiaorao, why did you bring a human back? Tiger big head, don't be rude. Yu Xiaorao put his hands on his hips and shouted, this is a good friend of my spiritual ancestor, a highly respected senior, please get out of my way. In order to avoid trouble, Lin Chuan manifested a ray of Tushan Zhaojiao's soul power. The magic circle arranged here flashed in response. The tiger-shaped half-demon was shocked and immediately crawled on his knees. Little tiger has seen senior. No need to be polite. Lin Chuan waved his hand. Yu Xiaorao snorted lightly and proudly led Lin Chuan forward, finally arriving in front of a main hall. The plaque in front of the hall is engraved with 3 characters, Lingying Hall. Some memories came to Lin Chuan's mind. The spiritual race in Tianyuan continent was blessed by the luck of heaven and earth, and after developing to a certain scale, they established the organization, Spiritual Temple. The power of each head of the spiritual temple is equal to that of the leader of the spiritual clan. The first head of the spiritual temple was his son Tushan Yuming. Thinking of this, Lin Chuan's mouth twitched. If Tushan Yuming was still alive, wouldn't he have a 3,000-year-old son? Isn't that too outrageous? Looking at the development trend of the spiritual race, this is not impossible. For a large ethnic group, an ancestor who is 3,000 years old is considered young. No, why am I nervous? Lin Chuan comforted himself. How can a father see his son nervous? It should be the kid who is nervous. Commander, are you there? Yu Xiaorao's voice brought Lin Chuan back from his thoughts. There was no response from the Lingying Hall. It seems that the commander-in-chief is not here. Yu Xiaorao smiled and said, Senior, please go in and sit for a while. I think the commander-in-chief will feel something after you enter the hall. Good. Lin Chuan walked slowly into the Lingying Hall. The so-called Spirit Hall should be the subordinate force of the Spirit Hall. Entering, the scene inside the palace comes into view. At the front of the hall are 2 lifelike statues of life-size height, which are enshrined in front of many portraits. Isn't this just Zhao Zhao and me? With just one glance, Lin Chuan recognized that the statues enshrined in front of the Lingzhu Hall were him and Tushan Zhaojiao. He remembered that when he was reincarnated in the Dreamland, the spirit tribe made similar statues for him and Zhaojiao, only more majestic and spectacular. People are made into statues before they die, and become ancestors, but they are no longer there. Lin Chuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He turned his eyes to the portraits hanging on both sides of the wall. They were still familiar figures in reincarnation. The first portrait on the left is Yi Shui. The Yi Shui in the portrait was much colder than the Yi Shui in his impression, and she already had the attitude of a dragon girl. Especially the pair of dragon horns on the head are quite stylish. The first portrait on the right is Tushan Yuming. In contrast, Tushan Yuming's portrait looks more approachable, with a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. It seems they have all grown up. Lin Chuan couldn't help but sigh. Looking at the people and things in the dream in another way and from another angle, the feeling was completely different from the dream. The world has changed a lot. Lin Chuan didn't recognize the portraits further down. Presumably, they are all the later leaders of the Spirit Clan and the Lord of the Spirit Temple. At this moment, the door to Lingying Palace opened again. Lin Chuan turned around and saw a man with black wings entering the hall, and their eyes met. Yu. The black-winged man was startled and his eyes widened. Old ancestor. Are you an ancestor? Ordinary spiritual people don't know Ancestor Wuyu. How could he not know him as the leader of Lingying Palace? To be precise, he is the reincarnation of Tushan Wuyu. Lin Chuan calmly gave himself a new identity. Ancestor, reincarnated. The black-winged man bowed his head in greeting. A descendant of the spirit clan, Yawuji, has met the ancestor. Since the development of the spiritual race, there is no difference whether there is me or not. Lin Chuan waved his hand. I only came here for one thing, to see my old friends again and let go of my past. The real situation hasn't been figured out yet, so Lin Chuan doesn't dare to speak loudly. In the past, the spirit tribe could dominate in the seventh realm. In today's spiritual race, saints are everywhere, and the Supreme Lord is not only as numerous as dogs, but also in the minority. Not everyone will obey his so-called reincarnation. Fortunately, Yawuji was still respectful and it was not difficult to talk. If the ancestor has any instructions, let me put it bluntly. Without you, there would be no spiritual clan. You will always be the ancestor of the spiritual clan. Looking at the nine-phase realm, half-demon people are still being oppressed. When living beings are in despair and weak, they need the power of faith even more. Ancestor Wuyu is the original belief of many spiritual tribes. Lin Chuan asked. 3,000 years have passed, are Yi Shui and Tu Shan Yuming still alive? Ancestor, they are all alive. Yawuji handed over his hand. Every 10 years, this junior will return to the Holy Land of Tianyuan Prefecture. The fate cards of Ancestor Yi Shui and Ancestor Yuming are always bright. Another important piece of information presented. It seems that Tianyuan continent has been completely integrated with Jushan realm and has now become Tianyuan state. Lin Chuan asked again, how about Tushan? Yawuji replied, the Tushan clan's nine-tailed fox clan is now the most powerful clan in Tianyuan Prefecture. I heard that other nine-tailed foxes from the Jushan realm have approached the Tushan clan. Since then, the Tushan clan's nine-tailed fox clan has developed rapidly, and several legends have been born. Some of their tribesmen have already migrated out to find a broader and more blessed place to live. Lin Chuan was not surprised by this news. The nine-tailed fox clan is a relatively powerful demon clan in the legends of the nine-phase realm, and is a famous great demon in the spectrum of demons. Without the rules and restrictions of Tianyuan continent, it will take off on its own. Lin Chuan asked again, do the spiritual tribes of the Yan dynasty listen to your orders? Yes. Have you ever forgotten the purpose of the spirit clan? Never forget that the purpose of our spiritual clan is that all spirits are equal. Yawuji buried his head lower. Lin Xuandao, but the spirit tribe in Dayan has hurt many innocent people. Originally, Lin Chuan didn't want to care about these things. Each ethnic group has different beliefs, different creatures have different temperaments, and some things cannot be controlled at all. There will never be absolute equality in the world. Lin Chuan said a few words, not for the sake of justice, but out of selfishness. There are three kinds of selfishness. First, in the real world, he is a pure human race, taken care of by his parents and sister, and has a good life. Secondly, Uncle C died in this disaster. Even after killing the monster Bai Yin who killed Uncle C, Lin Chuan still felt unhappy and did not want the chaos to continue. Thirdly, his only relative in this world, his sister Lin Yangyang, still lives in this land, and he does not want his sister to get involved in any bigger troubles. Yawuji seemed a little unhappy. Ancestor, haven't many innocent members of our spiritual clan died? They also don't deserve to die. Lin Chuan asked, do you want to avenge them? Of course. Yawuji nodded heavily. The powerful monks from the human race and the demon race regard our spiritual race as aliens, kill them wantonly, and look down on us. The spirit clan can't kill those powerful monks, so why can't they destroy their foundation? Ancestor, many humans and demons have died in your hands. You know very well the principle of stopping bleeding with blood and fighting violence with violence. Why, have you become kinder now? Yawuji was very unconvinced. Lin Chuan didn't want to argue, and there would be no result in arguing about this kind of thing. He never thought that everyone was a good person, and some people did deserve to die. He never considered himself a good person. He has always been selfish. I have never thought about protecting the world, and I don't even want to care about anyone outside my roof. All I do and think is for the people around me. Be it a demon or a human being. What's mine is the most precious. Lin Chuan looked at Yaowuji and admonished. Indiscriminate killing is not the right thing to do after all. It will ruin the luck of the spirit clan, let alone disintegrate the so-called foundation of the two races. Those human and demon monks who can kill the spiritual tribe indiscriminately, in their eyes, there is no difference between weak humans and demons compared to the spiritual tribe. They are all ants, and they will still kill them. The strong will not care about the life or death of the weak. Especially in a world where spiritual practice is the most important thing. Yaowuji thought that those monks who were killing indiscriminately would only kill spiritual people, but in fact they had a lot of demon and human lives on their hands. Okay, let's put this issue to rest. There is always a wrongdoer and a debtor, and you can go to whoever you should go to. Lin Chuan waved his hand to stop Yaowuji, who wanted to say more. Can you summon Yi Shui and Tushan Yuming? Yaowuji had no choice but to hold back his breath and said bitterly, Yumingzu closed the barrier of life and death 100 years ago. As for Yi Shizong, he rarely takes care of things after abdicating the throne. He may have traveled to the mainland a long time ago. This junior has never seen Yi Shizong. If our ancestors have any major issues, they can go to the current clan leader and palace master. That's all. Lin Chuan shook his head. Yi Shui was raised by him, and Tushan Yuming was his real son. These two would listen to him, and others would not necessarily sell face. Lin Chuan didn't want to be unhappy. What's more, his main purpose of looking for the spirit clan was to ask about how to resurrect Tushan Zhaozhao, and other spirit clan couldn't help. When Yuming comes out of seclusion or Yi Shui comes back, you can come back and repay me. Most of the purpose of this trip has been achieved, and Lin Chuan does not want to stay any longer. Regarding the conjectures about the connection between dreams and reality, many things have been verified from the mouths of Yaowuji and Yu Xiaorao. This also facilitates his further exploration of dream reincarnation. As for the development of the spiritual clan, Lin Chuan can't help let alone control it. If Yaowuji still wants to retaliate against the human race and the demon race by cannibalizing the weak, he will probably end up in a dead end. Because the current demon race and human race are still far better than the spirit race. 3 days later, Lin Chuan returned to the Lin family residence in Yuliang County. Chuaner. As soon as he reached the entrance, a figure rushed over to him and hugged him tightly. You scared my sister to death. Lin Chuan could feel that the soft body holding him was shaking, even the voice had changed, and he suddenly felt uncomfortable. During this trip, I only considered myself, but forgot about my sister's feelings. For your sister, you are the only indispensable person, right? Lin Chuan wanted to admit his mistake, but after thinking about it, he realized that his sister was not the kind of person suitable for sensational atmosphere, so his apology turned into ridicule. Sister, you won't cry anymore, will you? Sure enough, as soon as these words came out, Lin Yangyang immediately let go of his arms and stood up straight. No. After saying that, he punched Lin Chuan in the chest, and his tone suddenly became fierce. You kid, your wings have grown hard, haven't you? Can you chase down the spirit tribe in the reborn realm by yourself? If the people from the Demon Slayer division praise you a few times, you will go to heaven. How many times has my sister taught you that you must be steady and win in everything you do? Lin Chuan curled his lips and wanted to refute, but when he saw his sister's haggard face, he couldn't help feeling a little distressed. Okay, I understand. If anything happens next time, I must discuss it with my sister first. HMPH. That's pretty much it. Lin Yangyang was satisfied. As the siblings were talking, several terrifying auras rose into the sky in the distant sky. There was an aura among them that gave Lin Chuan a sense of familiarity, as if it was Yaowuji, the commander-in-chief of the spirit tribe who was stationed in the Yan dynasty. Lin Yangyang frowned. That direction should be the capital of the Yan dynasty. Is there a monster that has entered the capital? A series of question marks appeared on Lin Chuan's forehead. He just said that every injustice has its owner. That stupid crow just killed Yandu. At that moment, Lin Chuan realized that he had underestimated the spirit clan's belief. Observing the vision, the holy lotus blossoms in the sky represent the realm of Yaowuji, and he is a genuine saint. The few people who fought against Yaowuji and Yandu were all in the saint realm without exception. Qingyan Prefecture is not a big place and its spiritual energy is thin. Since the Qingyan Supreme was born, no Supreme was born again. The Saint Realm represents the highest combat power of Qingyan Prefecture. Lin Yangyang sighed. Qingyan Prefecture is really going to change. Monsters will go straight into Yandu. Those who come are not good. In Lin Yangyang's view, it was impossible for a Demon King-level existence to go to Yandu to die for no reason. Since we entered Yandu directly, we must have other plans. Virtual space. Mo Sengyu looked at the 4 Demon Kings below. What do you think of the spiritual tribe? The Golden Winged Tiger King sneered. Those who steal from chickens and dogs are just mediocre. The Red Ape King said, the law of the jungle is the law of the world, so how can a mere spirit race disobey it? The equality they pursue is nothing more than a false equality. The Black Flame Bird King said, the so-called spirit clan is just a bud that has just emerged. How can it shake the foundation of the monster clan and the human clan? The Three-Headed Snake King joked, my subordinates feel that this is a must experience for every newly rising ethnic group. In the future, they will understand that only their own strength is the most important. The 4 Demon Kings in Yunmeng Ancient Forest are all at the peak of the Saint Realm, and they only want to break the shackles and step into the Supreme Realm. The 4 Demon Kings have always believed that the stronger an individual is, the farther away they will be from the concept of a group. If the Demon Clan and the Human Clan in Qingyan Prefecture want to start a war again, they don't care. They ban the war and avoid the war because they don't want to cause more troubles and avoid hindering their cultivation. You guys go to Yandu and put an end to this farce, Mo Sengyu ordered. Lord, what do you mean by this? The Demon Kings were puzzled. With the Lord's temperament, shouldn't he help the human race? Mo Sengyu said coldly, my husband is still in the Yan dynasty. He doesn't like troubled times, so Qingyan Prefecture cannot have troubled times. Do you understand? My subordinate understands. The Demon Kings were frightened, knelt down and bowed their heads, and immediately turned into rainbows and fled towards Yandu. Above Yandu, Yawuji used 1 against 3 to challenge the 3 saints of the Yan dynasty. His decline was gradually showing and he was about to fall into defeat. At this moment, 4 rainbows descended. The terrifying aura vibrated, dividing the battlefield. Yawuji's expression suddenly changed, the 4 Demon Kings of Yunmeng Ancient Forest. The 3 saints of the Yan dynasty were also shocked, as if they were facing a formidable enemy. A few days ago, news came out that the 4 Demon Kings in Yunmeng Ancient Forest had disappeared. They all thought that the 4 Demon Kings had left Qingyan Prefecture and went to other areas to find opportunities for breakthroughs. They did not expect that the Demon Kings would show up here. The Golden Winged Tiger King stood with his hands behind his back and said calmly, the Qingyan Prefecture Monster Clan has no intention of becoming an enemy of the human race. Let the war end here. After saying that, he looked at Yawuji again, Spirit Tribe, right. You should understand a truth, weakness is the original sin. I don't know where you learned this strategy from. It's so ridiculous that you try to sow discord between the human race and the demon race to stabilize your own position. If you are not strong, whatever you do will be in vain. My master wishes you, the Spirit Clan, to pity you and will give you a chance. In Qingyan Prefecture, the Demon Clan is willing to recognize the identity of the Spirit Clan and allow you to practice freely. I hope that after you get the justice you want, you can make some progress and don't let my master's gift go to waste. The words of the Golden Winged Tiger King shocked many powerful people in the Yan dynasty. Yawuji even looked pale. You must know that the 4 Demon Kings in Yunmeng Ancient Forest are all at the pinnacle of the Saint Realm. The one who can make the 4 Demon Kings the master must be in the Supreme Realm. When did Qingyan Prefecture give birth to another Supreme Being? Still a Demon Supreme. For the human race, this is definitely not good news. If the monster race Supreme changes his mind one day, the human race in Qingyan state will be in catastrophe. Could it be? Yawuji remembered something. Not long ago, a great battle broke out in Yuliang County. At first, he thought it was a strong man from other regions passing by. Now it seems that one of them may be the Monster Clan Supreme. The words have been brought, I'll take my leave. The 4 Demon Kings leave just as quickly as they come. Just a few words are enough to intimidate. Deep in the palace, Emperor Yan's voice came loudly. Since the Supreme Lord of the Monster Clan has recognized the existence of your spirit clan, our Great Yan Dynasty must behave like a human race. From now on, within the Great Yan Dynasty, the spirit clan can also practice freely. Quote. Yawuji froze on the spot. Ah, it's done. Is this how the freedom and equality that the Eldar tribe pursues has been achieved? And all of this was given by the mysterious Monster Supreme. Who is that Monster Supreme? And why should he help the spiritual race? Is it related to the ancestor? He had only seen the reincarnation of Ancestor Wuyu 3 days ago, and today the long-cherished wish of the Qingyan Prefecture spirit clan was fulfilled. There must be a close connection with the ancestor. Thinking of this, Yawuji bowed his head in the direction of Yuliang County. Yawuji thanks the ancestor on behalf of all the spiritual people in Qingyan Province. May the Eldar live forever. In Yuliang County, Lin Chuan watched the rainbows coming and going, but the battle ended in vain. What exactly happened was beyond his ability to know. In the next few days, people from the Demon Slayer division frequently came to the Lin family compound to conduct investigations. Lin Chuan had been there for 3 days, but in the end he still hadn't caught Yu Xiaorao from the spirit tribe, which naturally aroused the suspicion of the Demon Slayer division. However, many investigations by the Demon Slayer division proved that Lin Chuan was not guilty. 7 days later at noon, the demon-slaying envoys Pei Yinyi and Yu Hilan came to the Lin mansion again, bringing news that surprised Lin Chuan. 2 fellow Taoists, a big event happened today. The 3 dynasties jointly issued an imperial edict. Guess what it is? Because the Demon Slayer division frequently investigated Lin Chuan, causing Lin Chuan trouble. As a teammate in that operation, Yu Hilan felt very guilty and was prohibited from contacting the Lin siblings. Only today has the ban been lifted. Lin Chuan asked tentatively, is it related to the spiritual clan? Exactly, Yu Hilan replied. From now on, in the 3 major dynasties, the spirit tribe is allowed to practice freely. Any registered spirit tribe is protected by the laws of the dynasty. Ah, Lin Chuan was confused. What did Yawuji do? Or did other powerful people from the spirit clan take action? I'm surprised too. Yu Hilan smiled and said, for the dynasty, this can be considered a good thing. After all, the number of spiritual tribes is already huge. If we really want to eliminate all the spirit clan, the dynasty will lose a lot of monks, and the Demon Slayer division will bear the brunt. Also, I have already reported the merits of your siblings. After the company approves, the rewards will be issued. Pei Yinyi put on a mysterious expression. Our company has promoted many talented monks in recent years. You two are both extremely talented. If you are appreciated by the company, you may have the opportunity to enter the Demon Slayer division's treasure house to freely choose rewards. Don't refuse it then. Quote. Chapter 51. Yandu, Demon Slayer Division. Zhu Zhengji, the company manager, was constantly reviewing the files. He just glanced at most of the files and threw them aside. The adjutant will then assist in the process. Only events worthy of attention will attract the attention of the Demon Slayer company owner. A line of information came into view, which aroused Zhu Zhengji's great interest. Lin Chuan, 18 years old, soaring into the sky, sword cultivator. The most eye-catching thing is naturally the word, sword cultivator. Except for the strong men of the older generation, Dian dynasty has not produced a swordsman for a long time, and there is no complete inheritance of swordsmanship in the entire Dian arsenal. Both deeds about Lin Chuan were recorded in the file. First, in Yushui County, a half-demon with a cultivation level in the soaring sky realm can compete with a half-demon in the reborn realm, and he balances it with his flawless swordsmanship. Secondly, in the case of arresting the spirit clan in Yuliang County, he saved the life of his colleague Yu Hilan, the 4-patterned demon slayer, and pursued Xiaoluo, a half-demon in the rebirth realm with the blood of the 9-tailed fox, on his own. In the eyes of company boss Zhu Zhengji, who has already reached the pinnacle of the Saint realm, the mere matter of being in the reborn realm should have been a trivial matter. But Lin Chuan's performance attracted his sufficient attention. The 18-year-old genius swordsman is not a child of a famous family, so he deserves to be seen by me. If there is a saint-level sword cultivator in the Great Yan dynasty, why should we be afraid of the demon kings in Yunmeng ancient forest? Zhu Zhengji made a decision in his heart. This child is worth cultivating. The remaining files will be reviewed by you, and any major events will be reported to this officer. After entrusting several adjutants, Zhu Zhengji left quickly. The next day, Zhu Zhengji came to Yuliang County and found the courtyard where the Lin siblings lived. Over the past few days, after receiving the heart-to-heart blessing from the little childhood sweetheart Yun Ziyi, Lin Chuan's swordsmanship has become increasingly refined, and he has faintly touched the threshold of the true meaning of swordsmanship. The realm of cultivation has not fallen, and it is already in the middle stage of stable soaring realm. Lin Chuan wanted to revive Tushan Zhaozhao's soul as soon as possible, but there was no news from the spirit clan, and Tushan Yuming was most likely still in seclusion. If it doesn't work, we can only start the dream cycle again. Lin Chuan had accumulated a lot of points after not entering a long dream cycle for a long time. What he wants to do now is completely inconsistent with his own strength. He can only rely on dreams to reflect reality and obtain more abilities. Sir, there is a man outside looking for you. At this time, the maid Luya hurriedly came to report. Lin Chuan asked, "Who is it?" Luya shook his head, "I don't know. He looks quite impressive. He must not be an ordinary person. Let him in." Lin Chuan put away the Yongsan divine sword, and not long after, a middle-aged man about 40 years old was led in by the maid Luya. "Who is your excellency?" Demon Slayer Division, Zhu Zhengji. The visitor was none other than Zhu Zhengji, the boss of the demon slaying company who came all the way from Yandu to Yuliang County. "I met the company in Shilinchuan." Lin Chuan was shocked. The company manager actually came to visit him in person. Young Master Lin must have guessed the purpose of my visit. Zhu Zhengji got straight to the point. It has been a long time since there was a real swordsman in the Yan dynasty. Mr. Lin broke the convention. Lin Chuan smiled and said, "Is the company planning to recruit me?" "Exactly. It's a pity that I have already rejected the invitation to join the Demon Slayer Division. I am used to being idle and do not like to be bound by any organization or force. I am afraid that I will let down the company's good intentions." "Don't say no too early." Zhu Zhengji smiled and said, "Master Lin, come with me and see the real Demon Slayer. Maybe you will change your mind." "No way." Lin Chuan refused. He heard from Pei Yinyi and Yu Hilan that the Demon Slayer Division's treasure house contains many treasures that practitioners are eager to collect. But to him, those things were not attractive. Zhu Zhengji still maintained a peaceful posture. "I know that Mr. Lin has the inheritance of sword cultivation, and most things cannot be seen by you, but I still hope that Mr. Lin will go there. This will put an end to my thoughts, so I won't think about it anymore." Having said this, Lin Chuan would be a little ignorant if he didn't agree. Cultivation is not about fighting and killing, but about being humane. In the future, Lin's trading company will still operate in the Yan dynasty, and things cannot be done too badly. Since my company has invited me again and again, I am disrespectful. I believe Mr. Lin will not regret it. Zhu Zhengji was confident that no monk could refuse the invitation after seeing the Demon Slayer Division's treasure house. For any monk, the benefits of joining the Demon Slayer Division far outweigh the disadvantages. This is especially true for monks like Lin Chuan who the court is willing to focus on cultivating. The benefits they enjoy far outweigh the costs. At least before the Saint Realm, this is definitely the case. "Then let's go." "Wait a minute." Lin Chuan held up his hands and said, "I have to tell my sister so that she won't worry." "Certainly." Zhu Zhengji nodded. "I have also read the file about your sister Lin Yangyang. Her talent is not bad. If she is willing to join the Demon Slayer Division, I welcome her." Lin Chuan smiled and said nothing. "My sister's talent is not just good. It's simply outrageous, isn't it? It's just that the people in the Demon Slaying Division didn't know the specific time of Sister Lin Yangyang's practice, so they came to the wrong conclusion. After all, his sister is 9 years older than him. The 27-year-old Tenkong realm may be considered good by ordinary monks, but in the eyes of strong men like the company, his qualifications are mediocre. As everyone knows, Lin Yangyang has been practicing for less than half a year." Soon Lin Chuan found Lin Yangyang, and after explaining the reason to his sister, Lin Chuan followed Zhu Zhengji and left. On the way, Lin Chuan thought of the Ling clan and took the opportunity to ask, "Sir, the spirit tribe has caused troubles many times. Why did the imperial court issue an imperial edict allowing the spirit tribe to practice freely in the human realm? Zhu Zhengji patiently answered. Because the Supreme Lord of the Monster Clan issued an order, recognizing the existence of the Spirit Clan and allowing the Spirit Clan to practice freely in the realm of the Monster Clan. If the human race continues to antagonize the Spirit Clan, it will be asking for trouble. It will benefit the Demon Clan. We have no choice but to admit the existence of the Spirit Clan. This matter is big or small. After all, most of the spirit races are good to others. After allowing them to practice freely, they will not cause trouble again. Zhu Zhengji didn't think too much and told Lin Chuan the whole story. The Supreme Demon Clan. Lin Chuan discovered Hua Dian. Didn't you say that there has been no supreme being in Qingyan Prefecture for a long time? Why did the Monster Clan suddenly have another supreme being? The company said, it's a long story. Do you still remember the battle over Yushui County not long ago? One of the two sides is probably the current demon supreme in Qingyan Prefecture. Lin Chuan. My wife has become the supreme leader of the demon clan. Seeing Lin Chuan in a daze, the company comforted him, you don't have to be too frightened. The supreme demon clan doesn't dare to massacre wantonly. Join the Demon Slayer division, and I will keep you and the Lin family safe. Keep safe. The company's tall image seemed to suddenly collapse in Lin Chuan's heart. Although he knew Zhu Zhengji had good intentions, looking at the facts, it was indeed a bit funny. Please consider it. Lin Chuan cupped his hands and said something perfunctory. From the company's words, he got another piece of news. The demon clan in Qingyan Prefecture is now under the control of his wife, Mo Sangyu. This can explain why the Qingyan Prefecture Monster Clan is willing to admit the existence of the Spirit Clan. You thought you were an enemy everywhere, but you don't want everyone to be a relative or friend. I have no place to fight monsters and upgrade. After all, we have to return to the dreamland. During the chat, time flew by, and Lin Chuan and Zhu Zhengji arrived in Yandu. The prosperity of Yandu is far better than that of local cities, and the tall and magnificent buildings show the style of a capital of one dynasty. The ancient capital built by the practitioners was much more impressive than Lin Chuan had imagined. Zhu Zhengji led Lin Chuan around Yandu, and then went straight to the secret place of the Demon Slayer division. The treasure house of the Demon Slayer division was at the deepest part of the secret place. To open the secret place of the Demon Slayer department, you must have the holy order personally given by Emperor Yan and Zhu Zhengji's key. As the leader of the Demon Slaying division, Zhu Zhengji has shown the greatest sincerity, and Lin Chuan can naturally feel it. It can be seen that Zhu Zhengji is a man who is thirsty for talents. The treasure house door slowly opened. Zhu Zhengji took Lin Chuan into it. The treasures stored in the treasure house are countless and dazzling, allowing Lin Chuan to see the heritage of a country which is truly arrogant. Many things needed for practice are neatly classified and stored in various spaces. Most of the treasures in Linchuan cannot be named. Zhu Zhengji introduced. The treasure trove of my demon slaying department has everything from martial arts and magical powers to spiritual treasures and magic weapons to elixirs and talismans. There are many treasures here. If you take any one out, they are all treasures that outside monks dream of. And you, as long as you agree to join the Demon Slayer division, you can choose the treasures here at will. This is your privilege as a swordsman genius, and it is also the sincerity of my Demon Slayer division. Zhu Zhengji was confident and did not believe that a young man could withstand such temptation. Company, can I take a look at the treasures here first? Lin Chuan was really tempted. If the Demon Slayer division allows him to go to work for fishing, paid vacations and other requirements, he might really be able to agree to it. After all, now there are 3 parties in Qingyan Prefecture. The demon clan is taken over by his domineering wife Mo Sangyu, and Lin Chuan himself is the ancestor of the Spirit Clan. Something that really needs to be addressed. Most likely only the human race will have a civil war. Zhu Zhengji smiled and nodded, of course. If you don't take a closer look, how can you be tempted? After getting the permission, Lin Chuan started to walk around the treasure house. He didn't care about the martial arts and supernatural powers. The burning silence sword Ju and the 23 swords reflected in the reincarnation are enough for him. Lin Chuan is more concerned about various cultivation resources, such as spiritual treasures, magic weapons, elixirs, talismans, etc., which he and his sister can use. There are 7 floors in the treasure house. The treasures on the first level are very good. Lin Chuan looked towards the second floor again. Company, can I go up there and have a look? Of course you can. Zhu Zhengji nodded. The young man is still too young. If he is really not moved by resources, he will not propose to move to the next level. Going upstairs is where the fall begins. Next, Lin Chuan walked from the second floor to the 6th floor. The treasures collected on the 6th floor are extremely rare, and each item is a treasure that even the Saint Realm attaches great importance to, and is also the foundation of the great Yan dynasty. There were many things in it that tempted Lin Chuan. But he felt that the top one should be the best. Lin Chuan's eyes turned to the 7th floor. Well, company, can we go up again? Zhu Zhengji smiled and asked, what? There are so many treasures and there is no satisfactory choice for you. Yes, I have. Lin Chuan smiled and said, but I am very curious about what is hidden on the 7th floor. Is it the legendary supreme law? No. Zhu Zhengji shook his head. The things on the 7th level are not useful to ordinary monks. They are more like spiritual symbols. If Mr. Lin wants to take a look, there's nothing wrong with it. Please. Zhu Zhengji gave Lin Chuan enough face and waved his hand to unlock the restrictions on the 7th floor. Lin Chuan walked up to the 7th floor. What came into view was a dusty table with a classic book placed on it. It was very thick and looked a bit old. Zhu Zhengji explained. This object has a long history. At the beginning of the establishment of the Yan dynasty, it was regarded as a treasure to suppress the dynasty. Being placed here can also be regarded as a spiritual practice book. I have read it before, and the practice methods recorded in it are extremely niche. Ordinary monks cannot practice this way at all. Emperors of all dynasties have regarded it as a treasure and enshrined it on the 7th floor of the Demon Slayer Department's treasure house. The specific reason is unknown. Not to mention that, I've finished reading the things. It's time for you to make a choice. Are you willing to join the Demon Slayer division? Zhu Zhengji believed that the young man in front of him had completely fallen. Lin Chuan's eyes were still fixed on the books on the table. Its name is, The Third Part of the General Secret of Yuling. Lin Chuan had seen similar classics in the dream cycle of Forbidden Love. It existed as the supreme skill of the lineage of human spiritual masters. Lin Chuan in the dream did not practice this technique because he was abandoned by the lineage of spiritual masters since he was a child. The reason why I saw it was because it was in the hands of Yan Baikong. But at that time it was still called, Second Part of the General Secret of Taming the Spirit. Great Yan Dynasty, Yan Baikong. In an instant, Lin Chuan connected the two names together, his heart pounding. Sir, can I read this book? Zhu Zhengji noticed something was wrong, but did not stop him. He nodded. Emperor Yan has decreed that all those who enter the treasure house are qualified to view this book, and you are naturally no exception. Lin Chuan thought thoughtfully, this kind of behavior is too much like Yan Baikong. He picked up the classics and began to read them. The memories in the dream continued to flow into reality, and many of the words felt familiar to him, and he flipped through them page by page. Lin Chuan was not interested in the practice methods of the spiritual master lineage. What really interested him was whether there were traces of Yan Baikong in this classic. Zhu Zhengji stood aside, becoming increasingly puzzled. You kid, why are you reading so quickly? It's hard to understand word for word, so reading like this is equivalent to reading a wordless book. Lin Chuan had no time to take care of this. It was not until he turned to the last few pages of the book that the speed of turning the book gradually slowed down. At the end of the page it says, the resurrection of remaining soul technique has been added to the Master of Spirit Control. Summary. When the core of the soul exists, this method can be used to repair it and make up for the broken soul. After the summary, there are dense details. Every preparation needed to revive the remnant soul is recorded in detail. After reading this paragraph, Lin Chuan can be sure that the person who left this classic is Yan Baikong. What does this mean? Lin Chuan couldn't laugh or cry. Yi Shui and Tu Shan Yuming were both alive, and Yan Baikong had a high chance of being alive. Yan Baikong has probably been looking for the reincarnation of Tushan Muyu. Calling back and forth, they are all our own people. Lin Chuan suddenly became more courageous and looked at Zhu Zhengji. Company, can I copy this classic? Copy this book. Company manager Zhu Zhengji was stunned for a moment. This matter needs to be reported to Emperor Yan. Lin Chuan clasped his fists and said, that will cause trouble to the company. Zhu Zhengji frowned. I would like to ask one more question. Why do you want to copy this classic? Do you understand the way of practice in it? I don't understand. Lin Chuan shook his head. Zhu Zhengji's eyes suddenly became much deeper. There are many secrets hidden in this kid. Just wait, I will report to Emperor Yan now. Zhu Zhengji pinched a spiritual secret and turned into a butterfly and flew out of the treasure house. Lin Chuan was lost in thought. The appearance of the spirit clan could be considered a coincidence, but it was a little strange for Yan Baikong to take root in Qingyan Prefecture. It has been more than 1,000 years since the Yan dynasty was established. Can Yan Baikong still deduce the fate of cause and effect 1,000 years later? After thinking about it, Lin Chuan could only attribute it to the monk's method of reaching heaven and earth, which he could not understand now. 3,000 years have passed since Yan Baikong, who was beaten by him all his life in the dream reincarnation, is now a legend at least, right? Just as Lin Chuan was thinking about it, a figure appeared in the treasure house. Wei Chen has met Emperor Yan. Zhu Zhengji bowed his head and saluted. Young man Lin Chuan, I have met Emperor Yan. Lin Chuan followed and saluted. From Emperor Yan's body, he saw some shadows of Yan Baikong, but the similarity was very thin, and it may have been passed down for many generations. Zhengji, please go out first. Emperor Yan waved his hand, telling Zhu Zhengji to avoid it. Yes. The latter took a deep look at Lin Chuan and exited the treasure house. Senior. Zhu Zhengji left, and Emperor Yan's expression immediately changed. He looked at Lin Chuan in disbelief. You are finally back. Lin Chuan was flattered and subconsciously took a step back. The contemporary emperor calls himself senior, which is much more exciting than Yu Xiaorao's half-demon. These days, as a senior and an ancestor, Lin Chuan felt that he was much older and asked tentatively. Is your ancestor Yan Baikong? Exactly. Emperor Yan was extremely excited. The ancestor came to Qingyan Prefecture thousands of years ago, ordered the establishment of the Yan dynasty, and left behind the senior's portrait and this general guide for controlling spirits. The ancestor said that if you come back, you will definitely find this place. The emperor's throne changes, generation after generation, and finally it's time for you. In Emperor Yan's heart, the ancestor was a strong man in the legendary realm, so how could the ancestor's old friend be an ordinary person? Even though this senior seemed a bit weak. That guy in Yan Baikong has really found a way out. Lin Chuan did not expect that without the constraints of the rules of heaven and earth, Tianyuan continent would be able to emerge with so many powerful legendaries. Seeing Lin Chuan commenting on his ancestor, Emperor Yan became even more flustered. Senior, what are your orders when you return this time? When I return this time, I am not myself, and the friendship with your ancestor is also different from the past. You don't have to care about me. Lin Chuan smiled and said, I just need to copy this classic. No, Emperor Yan continued, there is no need to copy it, you can just take it with you. The master of spirit control was originally left to you by your ancestor. Good. Lin Chuan did not shirk and accepted it directly. Emperor Yan said, the ancestor also said that if you have any instructions or any cultivation resources you need, senior, the Yan dynasty will support you unconditionally. Lin Chuan smiled. After thinking about it, this indeed seemed like something Yan Baikong could do. Yan Baikong's purpose for doing this seems to be only one, which is to hope that the reincarnation of Tushan Muyu will grow rapidly until the day when the two realms are in balance. In this way, we can fight again and fulfill our wish. Lin Chuan didn't know if Yan Baikong was watching from the dark. He probably wouldn't show up until his cultivation level caught up with him. Emperor Yan, now I want to resume my spiritual practice. Please conceal my identity in front of outsiders. Junior knows. Emperor Yan suddenly understood and admired him even more. A generation of sages have returned to the path of spiritual practice. How many monks can achieve such perseverance? Thank you. Lin Chuan clasped his fists. Junior, take your leave. Emperor Yan left immediately. The senior said that he did not need help, but as an emperor, how could he not understand the ways of the world? He remembered that the company said that Senior Lin Chuan had a sister who opened a business. Doesn't this open up your mind? After Emperor Yan left, Zhu Zhengji returned, filled with strong curiosity. What did Emperor Yan and Lin Chuan say during the period of time he avoided? Why did Emperor Yan give the original treasure of suppressing the dynasty to Lin Chuan? Lin Chuan boy has a good background. Company, I have decided, I want to join the Demon Slayer division. Lin Chuan spoke first. Zhu Zhengji was overjoyed. No matter what Lin Chuan's background was, his talent could not be faked. Joining the Demon Slayer division would only be beneficial to him. Have you chosen the treasure? The choice has been made. Lin Chuan nodded. Just this book is enough, but I have a small request. What? I've been a lethargic person since I was a child. If I work in the Demon Slayer department, I may not be able to report on time every day. I hope you can understand. Sleepy. How long will you sleep for? Zhu Zhengji had only heard of mortals suffering from kidney deficiency, fatigue, and lethargy, but he had never seen monks suffer from lethargy. As a monk in the soaring sky realm, there is nothing wrong with not sleeping for 10.5 days, right? Lin Chuan said seriously. When it's normal, I sleep just like ordinary people. When it's abnormal, I may sleep for several months at a time. Well, Zhu Zhengji was confused. What a difference. Just get your salary once a month and go home and sleep. No matter how talented a swordsman is, he can't be such a waste. Lin Chuan added. Don't worry, sir, I will never neglect my practice. If the Demon Slayer division has any special tasks that I need to carry out, I will definitely do my duty. That's okay. For a moment, Zhu Zhengji felt that he was on duty for Lin Chuan. But if you think about it carefully, this approach also highlights Lin Chuan's extraordinary ability. He slept for a long time without delaying his practice. What kind of skills can ordinary monks have? Thinking about it this way, I can accept it. After leaving the treasure house and coming to the Demon Slayer division, Zhu Zhengji personally made a waist badge for Lin Chuan, representing the identity of the three-marked Demon Slayer. Lin Chuan, the Demon Slayer division records meritorious deeds with tasks. If there is anything you want in the treasure house, you can remember it first, and then you can redeem it after you accumulate enough merit. In view of your special situation, the Demon Slayer division will not assign you a local superior. If there is any situation, just come to me directly. Over the years, the Demon Slayer division has been trained by many high-ranking officials, but there is absolutely no one like Lin Chuan who broke 10 rules as soon as he joined the Demon Slayer division. Lin Chuan is also the only one who seems to have no background, but in fact has a background so large that it is invisible. Yan is in trouble. Lin Chuan played in Yandu for a few days before returning to Yuliang County. As soon as I got home and opened the courtyard door, the maid Luya rushed over happily. Master, you are finally back, and I have great news for you. What's the good news? Lin Chuan asked. Luya said proudly. Our firm has recently been appreciated by a big shot in Yandu. We can go to Yandu to do business in the future. Miss, we have even bought the land. Every place has its own rules. The capital of Yan was at the foot of the emperor, and it was also the most prosperous place in the Yan dynasty. In a short period of time, the business of Lin's trading company has grown from a small county to Yandu, which is almost impossible. Lin Chuan pondered, guessing it was Emperor Yan's masterpiece. But the maid Luya couldn't think that far and danced happily. That's Yandu, a place where every inch of land is valuable, master. We are going to be prosperous. From now on, I will also be a maid of a wealthy family in Yandu. Very nice. Lin Chuan joked. Look at your worthless look. Our goal is not Yandu, but the entire Qingyan prefecture and the larger world outside. This slave doesn't care about the bigger world. It's enough to be with the young master. Luya blinked. She couldn't imagine what the bigger world was like. Ever since she was little, her world has been the Lin Mansion. As she grew up, the Lin Mansion became bigger and bigger, so big that she couldn't leave it in her life, and she didn't want to leave it again. Lin Chuan smiled. Good performance. Go tell the chef to cook more delicious food. Seeing that you are so thoughtful, you can choose 10 dishes of your choice today. Thank you, master. Lu Ya's eyes shone brightly, like a greedy little cat. How is Mengmeng these days? Lin Chuan asked again. She's been sleeping. Luya looked strange and added, you really look like me, young master. Lin Chuan came to the bedroom. Xiao Rumeng was hugging the pillow and sleeping peacefully. Her long eyelashes swayed slowly with her breathing, and the toes on her little feet would move from time to time. It looks like a cute kid sleeping normally. The real situation is that Xiao Rumeng has been sleeping for almost a month. Perfect female demon lord in the dream reincarnation, Lin Chuan sensed the heirs left by his own blood, but he never saw them. According to the calculation of time, Xiao Rumeng should not be only 3 or 4 years old. What's even more strange is that after coming to Lin Mansion for several months, Xiao Rumeng has not grown up at all. She has always been the same as when she came. Various phenomena indicate that Xiao Rumeng is not a normal child. It should be that something happened between Mo Sengyu and Xiao Rumeng in the world of perfect female demon lord which led to this situation. Lin Chuan stretched out his finger and poked Xiao Rumeng's cheek. The latter seemed to sense something and slowly opened his big eyes. Dad, why are you getting up faster than Mengmeng? Because Daddy has something to do. Lin Chuan held Xiao Rumeng in his arms. For some reason, his intimacy with Xiao Rumeng became stronger and stronger. At first he thought it was because the two of them had been getting along for longer and longer. But this time his perception was extremely clear. It was the throbbing from his blood, and it was by no means a simple spiritual perception. Dad, is Mother back? Xiao Rumeng asked again. Lin Chuan reassured, when Mengmeng grows up a little bit, Mother will come back. Okay, Xiao Rumeng nodded aggrievedly. At this moment, Lin Chuan had a sudden thought in his mind. Could Xiao Rumeng be in the same state as Tushan Zhaozhao, incomplete? Perfect female demon lord in the dream reincarnation. After he and Mo Sengyu experienced that night, it was the final farewell when they met again. After a long period of time, Mo Sengyu's two personalities fought with each other. The demon personality would never be willing to keep the child. The accident probably happened at that time. Lin Chuan straightened out his thoughts. An idea came to mind, and he immediately closed his eyes and chanted softly, Zhao Zhao, lend me your strength. In an instant, the shadow of the nine-tailed fox's soul appeared behind Lin Chuan. Lin Chuan's eyes changed color, and his pupils also turned into fluctuating flames. When he looked at Xiao Rumeng again, the scene completely changed. In his eyes, Xiao Rumeng became a young soul sealed by dense magic, completely isolated from this world. She has no physical body. The so-called physical body is made up of layers of fog that cannot be broken through. What affects the mist is the weak breath emitted by the sealed young soul, which makes Xiao Rumeng look cute and silly. No wonder Xiao Rumeng knows her mother besides her father. Because she does not have complete soul consciousness at all. Seeing this, Lin Chuan couldn't help but feel distressed. The emotions in the dream cycle seemed to surge out all at once and fell on him. Thump. Xiao Rumeng, who had just woken up, fell on the bed again. Lin Chuan pondered, how can we free Mengmeng from this state? He soon realized that he was the key. Because his bloodline aura has been affecting Xiao Rumeng, dispelling the fog bit by bit, even if it is very small. No wonder the little girl clings to me in every possible way. Her instinct should be to get out of that state, right? Only then did Lin Chuan discover many things in dreams that have never been remembered, and things that happen from another angle in the dream world, will also affect reality and reflect reality. This will cause many unpredictable situations to occur. Lin Chuan tried to actively transport his essence into Xiao Rumeng's body, and the fog dissipated faster. But not long after, Lin Chuan felt powerless and lacked his own energy, so he had to cut off the flow of energy. To restore Rumeng, it is destined not to be accomplished in a short time. Lin Chuan lay on his back on the bed, breathing heavily. Now he had to save his wife and his daughter. All the sins he had done in his dreams had come to reality. In response to the sentence, blessings and misfortunes depend on each other. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the hidden side mission, Reincarnation Linkage. You have changed the ending of your daughter, Lin Rumeng, in the real world, and you have gained 50,000 points this time. In my mind, the system prompt suddenly sounded. Is there any hidden mission? This was something Lin Chuan had never expected. You have discovered some connections between dream reincarnation and the real world, and new system functions have been unlocked for you. You have gained a new ability, Eye of Reincarnation. Eye of Reincarnation. After turning on this ability, you can check the number of reincarnations of creatures in the real world. In addition, you can use the Eye of Reincarnation to enter dream reincarnation with creatures that meet certain conditions. Specific conditions are: you have been in the same reincarnation and have overlapped with each other. Host, please remember that every reincarnation you have is your own. The opening of a new function shocked Lin Chuan. Looking at her daughter Rumong, a virtual prompt box appeared in front of her eyes. Lin Rumong, number of reincarnations, 0. This is Lin Rumong's first life. She has a father-daughter relationship with your former reincarnation, White Sword God Lin Chuan. Master, the delicious food is on the table. Just at this time, the maid Luya started shouting outside. Coming. Lin Chuan walked out, his eyes fell on Luya, and a virtual prompt box appeared. Green Bud, number of reincarnations, 99. This is Luya's 100th life. In the previous 99 reincarnations, she has been your maid. Lin Chuan was surprised by the reincarnation information displayed on Luya. 99 reincarnations. Are they all my maids? How much does this girl like to be his maid? According to the system, if every dream reincarnation is one's own self, then the amount of information would be a bit large. If the things discovered in the dream are already established, how can there be a dream entry function that is comparable to a plugin? The real situation is definitely more complicated than you think. Puzzled, Lin Chuan quickly gave up the messy thoughts in his mind. In short, ignore all the complicated theories and just play it as a dream. Everything is centered on the reality of the 9-phase realm. Sit down and eat. Lin Chuan doesn't like too many rules, and Luya, a maid, often eats at the same table with him. When the Eye of Reincarnation saw the news that she was a maid in 99 reincarnations, he felt even more pitiful for this girl. It also feels a little more intimate. Thank you, Master. Luya didn't have any thoughts, so he sat down and started eating. Not long after, Lin Yangyang also came back. Lin Chuan's eyes fell on his sister. Reincarnation information appears. Lin Yangyang, number of reincarnations, 2. This is Lin Yangyang's third life. She interacted with you in the first 2 reincarnations. It is worth mentioning that her second life is also your sister in a certain reincarnation. It turned out to be the sibling relationship cultivated in the previous life. Lin Chuan suddenly felt that the world had become wonderful. Sister, congratulations, our firm's business has taken another big step forward. Lin Yangyang walked to Lin Chuan and sat down, with a smile on his face. Don't tell me, business has gone much smoother since we set foot on the path of cultivation. You are doing very well in the Demon Slayer division, right? Lin Yangyang is not stupid. Based on the qualifications of Lin's trading company alone, they are not qualified to enter Yandu Trading Company. They must have received special care from the Demon Slayer division. I really can't hide anything from my sister. Lin Chuan smiled and said, whatever you want to do in the Yan dynasty in the future, just do it boldly. The Demon Slayer division will be our backend. In other words, the entire Great Yan dynasty is our backstage. Never mind the human race, demon race, or spirit race, they are all our own people. It's a good thing to have a backing, but you can't be impetuous. I will take care of the business affairs. You can practice with peace of mind. Having been in business for many years, Lin Yangyang has seen too many forces rise or fall overnight. He cannot rely entirely on backstage support to do anything. Especially at his age, it is easy for him to drift off. After a full meal, Lin Chuan handed Lin Yangyang a piece of paper filled with the names of the materials. Sister, I need some resources for my practice. You can use your business relationship to help me look for them and see if I can find them. So much. Lin Yangyang took the paper and took a closer look. There was a lot of dense materials, many of which she had never seen before. There's nothing you can do about it. Your brother is a genius sword cultivator and requires more resources to practice than others. In fact, these materials that Lin Chuan needs are all needed to revive Tushan Zhao's soul, and this is only part of it. If you want to truly revive Tushan Zhao's soul, you may have to leave Qingyan Prefecture. The third part of the General Secret of Yuling records the most important materials, all of which have never appeared in Qingyan Prefecture. But Lin Chuan was not in a hurry to look for it. He planned to wait for a while until the basic materials were completely collected, and then leave Qingyan Prefecture to find the required main materials. Before that, it is still important to improve your strength. Lin Chuan has already started to prepare for the fourth dream reincarnation. After having the experience of the first 3 times and realizing the partial connection between dreams and reality, he has become much more cautious. Judging from the current situation, it is no longer suitable for a beautiful heroine to appear in dream reincarnation. The reality is already a Shira field. If there is another one, I'm afraid it will be completely drained. In the dead of night, Lin Chuan was ready to test the dream linkage effect and called his maid Luya into the room. The dream entry mall appeared in front of my eyes. Lin Chuan originally planned to try the Advanced Fantasy World version of dream reincarnation, but it turned out that just the basic entry Advanced Fantasy World required 500,000 points. Can't afford it at all. Dream reincarnation for 2 people does not require additional points, but the selected dream entries will be restricted. The system prompts. It is recommended that the host can perform multi-person dream reincarnation linkage after reaching the spiritual realm. At that time, the system will open a new function for you, free interaction. The 8 realms of cultivation are the realm of nourishing qi, the realm of opening pulses, the realm of soaring into the sky, the realm of rebirth, the realm of spiritual soul, the realm of heavenly harmony, the realm of saints, and the realm of supreme beings. The first 3 realms, nourishing qi, opening pulses, and soaring into the air, are all basic realms that adapt to the process of Reiki. The 4th realm is the realm of rebirth. As its name suggests, it is the beginning of rebirth and the beginning of true contact with the mystery of practice. The 5th realm, the divine realm, is a transformation of the soul. After reaching this state, you can do 2 things at once: release your spiritual consciousness, travel outside your body, and sense the world with a new attitude. Only in this way can we hope to be in harmony with heaven and earth, be recognized by the laws of heaven and earth, and reach the realm of heaven and earth. Lin Chuan was still in the sky realm, so he had to give up trying to link up with Luya's dream reincarnation and let Luya leave the room first. After so many days of accumulation, Lin Chuan has accumulated 200,000 system points. But this time he wasn't planning on spending it all. He wanted to accumulate more points and start the dream reincarnation of the Advanced Fantasy World as soon as possible. The peak of the low-level fantasy world can reach the level of the Supreme Realm, and the high-level fantasy world will not be weaker than the 9-phase realm. Maybe it's reincarnation based on the 9-phase realm, but in a different timeline. Lin Chuan started shopping for dream entries. This time he doesn't want a beauty or a friend. In addition to low-level fantasy world, a basic entry with 50,000 points, he only purchased 2 life experience entries. The first one is monk. The second one is not close to women. Although most monks will not commit misconduct, as the protagonist, he can always do something different, so Lin Chuan had to take extra insurance. As for the rest, it all depends on the freedom of dream reincarnation. After making the selection, Lin Chuan lay on the bed and soon fell asleep. A new dream cycle begins. In the first year of the Tianshui calendar, you were born. Your father was the number 1 scholar of the Tianshui dynasty, and your mother was the princess of the dynasty. You are loved by your parents and live in a world surrounded by stars. The good times did not last long. In the dead of night, your father was killed. Your mother is devastated. The long-term longing and sorrow made your mother miss you so much that she became ill, depressed all day long, and eventually died of illness. You were only 5 years old at that time. In the same year, an old monk came to your home. The old monk's name is Fatn. Monk Fatian said, "You are destined to be my Buddha, little benefactor, please follow me to Buddhism." Good. You agreed without any hesitation. Monk Fatian took you back to Buddhist Jingshui temple and gave you a Dharma name called Jingchen. In these years of practicing Buddhism, you have shown extremely amazing talents, which astonished many Buddhist monks. Time flies, you have become an adult. On the day you turned 18, your master, Monk Fatian, taught you his famous skills. His name is Dewei Tianlong. At only 18 years old, your Buddhist practice has reached an extremely high level. In the same year, you were sent down the mountain to eliminate demons. The monsters causing trouble are 2 snake spirits. They are monsters that have practiced transformation for thousands of years and are quite powerful. After many years, you return to Tianshui imperial capital again. The first thing you do after coming down the mountain is not to eliminate the demon, but to go to the place where your father was killed. The dilapidated house, which has been in disrepair for a long time, is already covered with spider webs. You use the method of karma and hexagram to find the murderer who killed your father back then. The murderer is now a high-ranking figure in the Tianshui dynasty, and is one of the 6 ministers of punishment. You don't know why he killed your father back then, but the reason is not important. You came down the mountain just to end your worldly affairs. You came to the Ministry of Justice and found the Minister of Justice. In the eyes of the Minister of Justice, you are an eminent monk of Jingshui Temple, a man of enlightenment, and he respects you very much. You ask, "Why did you kill my father?" The Minister of Punishment shrank his pupils and tried to pretend not to know. What does the eminent monk mean by this? How can a mere mortal hide this from you? You smashed the head of the Minister of Justice with one palm. You committed murder because of this. But you don't care. You think that practicing cultivation requires leaving the mortal world. All the great principles that Master said are wrong. When you were a child, you asked, "Master, why do bad people put down their butcher's knives and become Buddhas immediately, but good people have to abide by the rules and not make mistakes?" Your master, Monk Fadian, said, "Good and evil, good and bad, merit and sin cannot be generalized. You will realize this later." At this moment, you feel that you have realized it. Since a bad person can become a Buddha immediately by putting down his butcher knife, then shouldn't it be enough for me to be a bad person in the eyes of the world? So, after killing the Minister of Justice, you killed his entire family. This incident quickly shocked the entire Tianshui imperial capital. The monks of the 3 religions were all shocked by this, and under the emperor's promise, they all took action to capture you. Monk Yuanai, the abbot of Jingshui Temple, is here. He is your master's master, your master. In recent years, you have become quite famous in the practice world. Many monks regard you as the future pillar of Buddhism and the only disciple of Buddhism in the next era. So when you went down the mountain to slay demons for the first time, your master didn't send anyone to accompany you. Everyone thinks that eliminating demons is a trivial matter for you. No one thought that the first thing you did when you came down from the mountain was not to eliminate demons, but to kill people, and the people you killed were high-ranking officials. You are surrounded by many monks. Your master Yuanai glared at you. "Jingchen, why did you commit murder?" Answer: This poor monk came here just to escape from the mortal world and devote himself to the Buddha. Yuan Hai said, "The day you shave your head and become a monk, the past of the world will disappear. If you go back to the past and kill people at will, the Buddha will not forgive you." You smiled and said, "If there is a Buddha in the world, it is the evil people who cannot be forgiven. Only by eradicating evil can a poor monk truly implement the Buddha's will." Yuan Hai was furious. "That's nonsense. You should go to hell and repent." You laugh even more crazily. "Hell is empty, demons are in the human world. The poor monk has saved the demons in the human world, and then goes to hell to destroy the ghosts." Wow! At this moment, countless monks were in an uproar. Yuan Hai slapped out with a palm, "Jing Chen, you are too obsessed with the world of mortals. From now on, you will no longer be a disciple of Buddhism. It's you pedantic old monks who are trapped in obsession. You are happy and unafraid. You stand still on the spot. A huge golden bell protects you and blocks the palm of monk Yuanai." The monks in the audience were in an uproar again. "I'm afraid no one would have thought that at such a young age, you are already a match for an eminent monk who has been practicing Buddhism for hundreds of years. Everyone, suppress him together." Yuanai summoned Buddhist abbots from other temples to take action together to suppress you. Only the true Buddha is the one who has done all he can to eliminate evil. You are still fearless, so you go up to the sky. "You eminent monks don't understand Mahayana Buddhism, I am here to teach you. The mighty heavenly dragon, the great Luo Dharma mantra, the Prajna Buddhas, the Prajna Bama Boom." You used the famous stunt of your master, Monk Fadian. The huge golden dragon traveled across the sky, smashing many Arhat skills and golden Buddha Dharma into pieces. During the battle, you heard a Taoist priest commenting on you. Jingchen is probably the strongest Buddhist disciple in history. You naturally know that you are a genius, otherwise you would not be so crazy, but you also know that you will not escape death today. Many abbots of Buddhism are not very strong in their own cultivation, but Buddhism has hidden secrets. They can invite the true Buddha to come to their bodies. In this world, the power of Buddhism seems to be stronger than the other two religions. Monk Yuanai sits cross-legged in the air, his eyes slightly closed, his hands clasped together, and mysterious power is constantly gathering on his body. When he opened his eyes again, they were like a Vajra with angry eyes. Boom! The palm densely covered with spells slaps you hard, knocking you into the ground, and a huge palm print appears on the ground. After all, your years of practice are too short. For Buddhism, you have your own understanding, but you can no longer implement it. Evil disciple, I ask you again, do you repent? Yuanai questions you again. The abbots of other temples shouted, Yuanai, do you still want to be merciful? Jingchen has violated the precept of killing, and must go to hell to repent, otherwise our Buddhist sect will lose face. He killed my father and deserves to be killed. You are unwilling to bow your head, and you have never regretted it. If you do it 10,000 times again, you will still choose to kill the minister of punishment. Yuan Hai was heartbroken and said, it's enough to kill one person, so why did you kill his whole family? What grudge does his family have against you? You shouldn't do it, it won't harm your family. You smiled and said, if he didn't kill my father, how could he get the position of minister of the Ministry of Punishment? It would not bring harm to the family, but it would benefit the family. Monk Yuanai shouted angrily, absurd words. You refused to give in and argued. The benefits they enjoy are due to the evil of the massacre. What they eat is my father's blood and my mother's tears. I am the one who should enjoy all this. Well, Yuanai sighed, you have fallen into deep obsession, and I have no choice but to save you in order to respect the Buddha. Everyone, take action. Your words make Yuanai unable to argue anymore. Only by killing you can we calm down the anger of all living beings in the Tianshui dynasty and win the favor of the people. Many killing moves from Buddhism are coming at the same time. You are unable to resist, sitting quietly on the ground, waiting for the ridiculous death sentence. Death is getting closer to you. At this moment, another golden dragon came across the sky, blocking all attacks. The mighty heavenly dragon, the great Luo Dharma mantra, the Prajna Buddhas, the Prajna Bama Boom. You raised your head and saw a familiar figure. Your master, Monk Fadian, is here. The monks in the sky shouted angrily, Fadian, what do you want to do? Are you two masters and disciples going to be enemies of the entire Buddhist sect? Yuanai sighed. Evil fellow, get out of the way, don't fall into sin. Fadian smiled and said, Master, you are not willing to let me, an evil disciple, die, so how can I be willing to let Jingchen, an evil disciple like me, die? Master, you were moved in your heart and bowed to your master, Monk Fadian, and said bitterly, my disciple, I would like to thank my master for his kindness. You can go. Your Dharma was taught by Monk Fadian. He gave you a second life, and your philosophy of life is largely due to his influence. Fatn will never restrain you with all kinds of vulgar etiquette. He only hopes that you can abide by your true self and not commit unreasonable killings. He told you that the original meaning of Buddha is to save all sentient beings. How to implement this concept depends entirely on your own understanding. From that moment on, a seed was planted in your heart. To this day, this seed has taken root and sprouted. Fadian turned his back to you and faced the monks. Eminent monks, my disciple's sin is not worthy of death. I, the Buddha, are merciful, so please spare his life. Presumptuous, the abbot of Tianlong Temple said coldly. Fadian, the poor monk advises you to take care of yourself. Pure dust has committed the sin of killing, and if you don't save it, it will be difficult to calm the anger in the hearts of the world. Fadian smiled and said, people in the world won't be angry. They all say that killing someone requires a life. My disciple is a bit reckless, but I'm not too wrong. The abbot of Tianlong Temple said, then pure dust should pay with your life. If he loses his life, the poor monk will pay for it on his behalf. Fadian said something that shocked the world, and you were also deeply shocked. This is an unexpected scene. Yuan Hai became anxious and shouted, Fatn, the fate of cause and effect is all yours, you can't bear it for Jing Chen, get out of the way. As the saying goes, it is the son's fault if he fails to teach his father, and it is the fault of the disciple if he fails to teach. Purification is my introduction, and I should bear the responsibility for the cause and effect. Fatn said, I am willing to turn away all my merits and reincarnate as a Buddha for another 1,000 years, in exchange for my disciples' pure dust to remain in the world. You regretted it and shed tears. Master, you don't have to be like this, the disciple should bear all this. Shut up. Monk Fadian casts a secret technique to seal your mouth. When Yuan Hai saw this, he sighed and said, Everyone, I will leave it to you to discipline the disciple Fatn and transcend the pure world. Master, you are getting old. Fadian smiled and said, There are some things you have to accept. After the words fell, your master Fadian took action again. He clasped his hands together, and a huge Dharma image appeared behind him. Master's teachings ring in your ears. I will teach you the last move as a teacher. Watch it carefully and learn it carefully. 1,000 hands. Pagoda. The Dharma form behind Fatn is sitting with his eyes closed. There are thousands of Buddha's hands. As Fatn reaches forward and claps his palm, the Dharma form's palm is shot out. At this moment, he actually single-handedly held back the power of the entire Buddhist sect of the Tianshui dynasty. How can it be? The monks were shocked and dumbfounded. How can a person with an incorrect mind be recognized by the true Buddha? How can he be given the power by the true Buddha? In their view, moves like 1,000-armed pagoda should not be human laws at all. Amitabha, Fatndao. The poor monk once said that everyone's Buddha mind is different, and everyone's way of practicing Buddhism is also different. The poor monk is willing to turn away all his merits and reincarnate as a Buddha for another 1,000 years, in exchange for my disciples' pure dust to remain in the world. Don't you all, eminent monks, still not understand? Jingchen's life should not be cut off, he has more important things to do. After saying that, Fadian's eyes fell into the distance. Emperor Tianshui is coming here surrounded by guards. Fadian said, Your Majesty, the Tianshui dynasty has never been corrupted by evil spirits. It is protected by the lotus of the world. The old lotus of the world is fast withered, and people need to go to the other side to find new lotus. According to the poor monk's opinion, it is most appropriate to go through the pure dust. I wonder what the Holy Spirit will do. This world is extremely special. The practitioners themselves are not very powerful, and they care more about the incense and merit of the world. Many mortals are protected by luck and have a higher status than monks. Emperor Tianshui is a mortal, but he is a head above many eminent Buddhist monks who moved mountains and reclaimed seas. Because Emperor Tianshui is the lord of a dynasty. Many monks need to borrow the merits and fortune of the Tianshui dynasty to practice and dare not disobey the emperor. You know all this, and you also know that outside the Tianshui dynasty, there is a troubled world where demons are rampant. As for the other shore mentioned by Master Fadian, you don't know much about it. Emperor Tianshui finally spoke, I just want to know one thing. Did the Minister of Punishment kill the consort? According to the relationship, your mother is the princess of the dynasty, and Emperor Tianshui is your grandfather. Many eminent monks looked at each other and had no choice but to use the cause and effect hexagram in front of Emperor Tianshui. The hexagram showed that the Minister of Punishment killed your father. This is an undisputed fact. Your Majesty, this matter. The Buddhist monks still wanted to argue. Enough. Emperor Tianshui waved his hand and said, according to the law of this dynasty, all the crimes committed by the Minister of Punishment should be executed. Jingchen just did this for me. It's just a matter of killing it first and playing it later, I'm sure. Even Emperor Tianshui spoke up to absolve you of your crime, and the Buddhist monks did not dare to disobey. You have been exempted and this matter is over. At night, your master Fadian found you. He said, Jingchen, are you willing to go to the world on the other side of the western region to pick the lotus of purification for all living beings in the eastern region? You said, Dongtu Buddhism can no longer accommodate disciples. If the master asks the disciples to go, then the disciples can just go. Monk Fadian smiled and said, this trip is not only for the sentient beings in the eastern land, but also for your own practice. You don't understand, Master, what do you mean by this? Monk Fadian said, Master has seen too many sins in you, and you need the purifying lotus to help you purify them. You still don't understand, is it such a big crime to kill the Minister of Punishment and his family? No, Monk Fadian shook his head, your sin is not in this life, but in your previous life. My past life. Put your hands together, chant Buddhist teachings softly, and ask, Master, what was my previous life like? Fa Tiandao. He should be a peerless devil who kills people without blinking an eye. Impossible. If you don't believe it, you think Master is lying to you. Fatn did not argue, and said in a deep voice, You once asked me, my teacher, why bad people can become Buddhas instantly when they put down their butcher's knives. Perhaps the bad guys are too strong. Just like you, as long as you put down the butcher knife, it will be a great merit in the world. Why are you rated as the strongest Buddhist disciple in history? Because as long as you purify a little of the sins of the previous life, it will be a measurable merit. You suddenly feel that Master's words seem to make sense. Was I really a big devil in my previous life? Another seed is planted in your heart. 10 days later, your master, Monk Fadian, passed away. What Fatn leaves for you is the relics transformed by a lifetime of cultivation and dharma. You personally performed the rituals for Master, which lasted for 7 days and 7 nights. Then, in accordance with Master's will, you went to the palace and met Emperor Tianshui. Emperor Tianshui personally seals you, gives you a cassock and a Zen staff, and gives you customs clearance documents. You have embarked on a journey to the other side. You are inexplicably excited because you want to see the world where demons are causing trouble. You always feel that the Tianshui dynasty, protected by the lotus of purification, is too boring. At the same time, a piece of news spread throughout the country. People say that after realizing the 1,000-armed pagoda, Monk Fadian became the first Buddhist monk in the East and his merits are immeasurable. Swallowing the relics transformed by Monk Fadian is expected to lead to immortality. You heard the news, but you didn't care. You have arrived at the border of Tianshui. Here, you see an extremely spectacular sight. The world seems to be divided into 2 halves. On the other side of the Tianshui border, black clouds are billowing and evil spirits are permeating. There is only a thin line between the 2 worlds. You have experienced the magic of the purifying lotus for the first time. You hold a Zen staff, cross the national border in 1 step, and step into the world of demons and troubles. The scene in the dream stopped suddenly, and Lin Chuan woke up in reality. Ding! The host has experienced an incomplete dream reincarnation and gained 5,000 points this time. After knowing that dreams are connected with reality, the first thing Lin Chuan does when he wakes up is to recall the details of the dream. Judging from the current progress of the dream reincarnation of Buddha's Son purifies the world, it is impossible to feel any connection with the 9-phase realm of the real world. There is a high probability that it is another small world. The only clue Lin Chuan caught was that there might be a connection between reincarnation and reincarnation. Master Fadian in the dream reincarnation said, In your previous life, you should have been a big demon who killed people without blinking an eye. The sins carried in the previous life fell into this life. Lin Chuan thinks it makes sense. Otherwise, Jingchen is a bit too strong. He has only been practicing Buddhism for more than 10 years, but he is already capable of defeating many eminent Buddhist monks. In the end, a group of Buddhist monks invited the power of the true Buddha to come, and Jingchen was defeated. There should be a connection between some reincarnations. Lin Chuan quickly understood the reason. The system has said that every reincarnation is my own. Since reincarnation is based on my will, no matter which life is the subject, continuous reincarnation cannot be just to survive. It's about doing something. Just like me now, the main purpose of starting the dream reincarnation again is to become stronger and find a way to revive Tushan Jiaojiao. In a sense, my will has linked the 2 reincarnation worlds together. After clearing his thoughts, Lin Chuan no longer struggled. If there can be infinite connections between reincarnations, then he will definitely have unexpected surprises after opening up one dream reincarnation world after another. Buddha's Son purifies the world in the reincarnation. The beautiful heroine was cut off, and the emotional impact on Lin Chuan was also weakened a lot. Leaving the room, Lin Chuan came to the yard. The maid Lu Ya ran over and reported excitedly without Lin Chuan asking, Master, you slept for a total of 16 days this time. Oh, I see. Lin Chuan nodded and asked smoothly, What did my sister say? When will you move to Yandu? Lu Ya said, Miss said that we will leave when you wake up. Miss has asked people to move many things in the house in advance. Compared with Yushui County, Yandu is undoubtedly more suitable for the development of commercial banks. Lin's trading company has obtained the qualification to do business in Yandu, so there is no reason to continue to limit itself in a small place. If he lived in Yandu, Lin Chuan would be able to consult the company in time on many issues, and even ask the Emperor of Yan for help. After a hearty meal, Lin Chuan began to practice his sword. After hanging up the dream reincarnation, his spiritual inspiration became full again, and Lin Chuan's realm also entered the late stage from the middle stage of soaring realm. In addition to the burning silence sword technique, Lin Chuan's understanding of the 23 swords is also getting deeper and deeper. He is confident that as long as he enters the reborn realm, he can use the prototype of the 23 swords. This is definitely the supreme killing move in the same realm. Compared with other monks, this is Lin Chuan's absolute advantage. The skills and magical powers that Lin Chuan practiced were all created by him in the dream, and they fit perfectly when reflected in reality. As long as the realm continues to improve and the strength of the body and spiritual consciousness can keep up, the strongest power can be exerted. At night, Lin Yangyang returned home. Seeing his sister, Lin Chuan couldn't help but widen his eyes with surprise. "Sister, have you entered the realm of rebirth?" "That's right." Lin Yangyang smiled brightly and was in a good mood, jokingly saying, "We just happened to have a breakthrough today. Our siblings are getting closer and closer to each other. You even woke up specially to congratulate your sister." Lin Yangyang, who entered the realm of rebirth, was truly reborn. Originally, Lin Yangyang was a very heroic beauty. After practicing spiritual practice, her temperament has greatly improved. Now she has completely transformed and her skin has become fairer. At first glance, the facial features did not change much, but Lin Chuan, who spent time with her, could tell at a glance that her sister's face had lost many flaws. Even his figure seems to be plumper. The shortcomings of Lin Yangyang, who entered the spiritual path late, seemed to have been made up for after entering the realm of rebirth. From Lin Chuan's point of view, the only one who can surpass his sister in appearance now is Mo Sangyu, who has been given the term perfect. But what Lin Chuan cares about most is, why does my sister practice so fast? Virtual reincarnation information boxes floated before my eyes. Lin Yangyang, number of reincarnations, 2. This is Lin Yangyang's third life. She interacted with you in the first 2 reincarnations. It is worth mentioning that her second life was also your sister in a certain reincarnation. Lin Chuan was seriously doubtful. My sister is the reincarnation of a peerless power, otherwise there would be no reason for her to practice faster than this idiot like me. Sooner or later I will drag you into reincarnation to find out what's going on. Lin Chuan silently swore in his heart. With the function of linking dream reincarnation, my sister's first 2 lives meet the conditions for linked reincarnation. There's no reason not to do some 2-player online exploration. 7 days later, Lin's family moved to Yandu. The first thing Lin Chuan did when he arrived in Yandu was to go to the Demon Slayer division to meet with the company's boss, Zhu Zhengji. Not many people knew about Lin Chuan joining the Demon Slayer division. To ensure safety, the company did not disclose his identity to the public. Headquarters of the Demon Slayer department. Zhu Zhengji, who was reviewing the files, saw Lin Chuan arriving, waved his adjutant to leave, and looked at the latter with raised eyebrows. "It's not easy for you to be on duty. I only came to report after a month of official rations in vain. There is no one in the world who feels more comfortable working as an errand than you. Thank you for your love, sir." Lin Chuan cupped his hands and said with a smile, "I made a mistake. I didn't expect that your shamelessness is even better than your swordsmanship," Zhu Zhengji teased. Lin Chuan looked innocent. This junior has his heart set on the Demon Slayer division. However, he is not feeling well, so he can only focus on rest. Only by taking good care of his body can he repay the kindness of our company. Glib tongue. Zhu Zhengji waved his hand and sent a large number of files to Lin Chuan. "You are just in time to help me review the files and pick a few tasks to complete. We can't really let your kid eat and drink for free, right?" Lin Chuan's swordsmanship talent has been proven, but Zhu Zhengji still hopes that his descendants can hone their skills more. Swordsmen who lack the killing spirit are destined to fail to become popular. He didn't want Lin Chuan's cultivation path to be free from obstacles at all. "You must obey the company's orders." Lin Chuan sat down and carefully reviewed the many files of the Demon Slayer division. This trial lasted most of the day. Regarding the court situation, case review, and criminal investigation reasoning, Lin Chuan was not good at it. In the end, the company had to teach him. Sitting in this position, Lin Chuan discovered that there were many troubles in various parts of Dian, but it was difficult for ordinary people to come into contact with them. In addition to some little demons who can't even control their nature, what makes the Demon Slayer division even more troublesome are the inhumane demonic monks. The demonic monks in the Yan dynasty were basically from the human race. They were usually disguised and difficult to be discovered. Demon cultivators take action, ruthlessly and decisively. They are not like little monsters who rely on their own nature to create chaos. They usually have careful plans. Even the Demon Slayer division will be included. This also resulted in the loss of many demon slayers in the hands of demon cultivators. After reading many files, Lin Chuan's understanding of the situation in the Yan dynasty increased a lot. Lin Chuan, what do you think about the issue of demon cultivators? Zhu Zhengji asked casually. The Demon Slayer division takes it as its own duty to slay demons. What do you think? My wife is the supreme of the monster clan, and she used to be a demon lord. Of course, demonic cultivation and demonic cultivation are also different. The rule of the demon cultivator is based on absolute suppression of strength, and there is rarely any such thing as loyalty and dedication. Today you are the demon lord, and tomorrow if my strength surpasses yours, I will probably kill you without hesitation. This is the daily life of the demonic way. This is a group of monks who have brought intrigue and evil to the extreme. Even Demon Lord Mo Sengyu came through that road. Regarding Zhu Zhengji's question, Lin Chuan's answer was, human nature is like this. There is no absolute fairness in the world, and demonic cultivators will always exist. Zhu Zhengji smiled, you really dare to say that? Who doesn't know this kind of thing? If people in the world live and work in peace and contentment and are happy, who would want to be a devil? But Lin Chuan was the first one who dared to say it in front of him. Lin Chuan said quietly, this is recorded in the file, not what I said. Company, you can't blame me. Most of the demon cultivators recorded in the files were oppressed by others and had no way to report to the government, or suffered hardships, miserable childhoods, etc., and fell into the demonic path for revenge. Only a very small number of demon cultivators enjoyed doing evil purely for fun. Zhu Zhengji pondered, why, do you think they are pitiful? Lin Chuan shook his head, poor people must be hateful, not to mention that it is the responsibility of the demon slayer to kill demons. There is nothing to be pitiful about. It's not bad to have such an idea. Zhu Zhengji sighed. Among the demon slayers, there are not a few who were bewitched by the demonic monks. They felt compassion for them for a moment, but in the end they died. Nature's stance is different, and they should not be merciful. Lin Chuan has only one purpose. Everything that is not good for me and the people around me is a bad thing. No matter whether it is a demon or a demon, it is the same for people. No matter how miserable the opponent is, he will kill him if he needs to. If his own interests are touched, he will never tolerate it. Zhu Zhengji said, among those people, there are many who are as firm as you in verbal words, but human emotions and desires are not so easy to control. At that time, influenced by various factors, my thoughts will be shaken, and my heart will change. After that, Zhu Zhengji threw out a file. This task is left to you. Let's test whether your heart is as firm as you just said and will not be shaken by the demon cultivator's words. No problem. Lin Chuan took the file and glanced over it. The content of the mission is that babies are often missing in multiple small towns in a certain area. The Demon Slayer division sent people to visit once, but no clues were found. It was initially determined to be the work of a demonic cultivator. Although Lin Chuan is only in the soaring realm now, his combat power is undoubtedly that of the reborn realm, and he can be considered a minor expert in a county. It was just right to send Lin Chuan for this mission. After receiving the mission file, Lin Chuan took out a piece of parchment from his arms and handed it to Zhu Zhengji. Company, please do me a small favor. Zhu Zhengji was stunned, angry and funny. Why are you so obedient today? Is there a queue waiting for me here? It's inappropriate for you to say that. Lin Chuan said seriously. You have high hopes for this junior. I have a heavy responsibility on my shoulders, and I also want to become stronger quickly. Now I have tried every means to get a list, which contains some necessary cultivation resources. Please help me see if I can get it. Lin Chuan spread out the list and placed it in front of Zhu Zhengji. The latter glanced at it, and his face suddenly darkened. You kid, are you here to empty the treasury? Even the owner of the demon-slaying company couldn't recognize all the materials on the list, and the ones he could recognize were extremely expensive. It's not an exaggeration to say, priceless. The things on the list are part of the materials needed to revive Tushan's Jiao soul. Lin Chuan said seriously. The wish of this younger generation is not to empty the treasury, but to strengthen ourselves first, and then repay the Demon Slayer division and the Holy Master. Impossible, Zhu Zhengji objected. Even if I am willing to give you these things, Emperor Yan will not agree. Lin Chuan blinked. How about you submit a memorial to me, sir? Maybe Emperor Yan will agree to it. Zhu Zhengji said. You are certainly talented, but you have neither meritorious service nor a high-ranking official position. How could Emperor Yan agree? You try it first, Lin Chuan advised. Perhaps Emperor Yan thinks that I am a talent and is willing to devote all his efforts to cultivating the younger generation. Zhu Zhengji, you kid, you must have a background. I felt something was wrong last time. You are not the illegitimate son of Emperor Yan, are you? Under Lin Chuan's crazy pull, company owner Zhu Zhengji finally agreed to the request. After achieving his goal, Lin Chuan left with satisfaction. As for the mission of the Demon Slayer division, it was just a trivial matter to him. End the mission early, go home and go to bed. In order to avoid falling into a long dream cycle, Lin Chuan did not sleep during the 7-day journey from Yushui County to Yandu. For monks in the Sky Realm, staying awake for 7 days is not a big deal. After Lin Chuan left the Demon Slayer division, he went straight to the mission location in the file. On the way, he couldn't help but think of what happened in the dream of Buddha's purity. His reincarnation body in that reincarnation, pure world, was a Buddha who had to bear the endless sins of his previous life. In the dream, Lin Chuan didn't feel anything strange. After coming to reality, I couldn't help but think deeply. Since we have shouldered so many sins, according to Buddhist theory, shouldn't we go to hell to atone for our sins? Why did he become a very talented Buddhist disciple after reincarnation? Also, the world of reincarnation in Buddha's pure world is so special. After being blessed by luck, mortals have a higher status than monks. This is something that almost never happens in other spiritual worlds. In the Buddha's pure world reincarnation, it is a common phenomenon. The Buddhist theory of karma, the Taoist theory of luck, and so on are all illusory. What's the connection? In deep thought, Lin Chuan arrived at the mission location early the next morning. It was a small town called Ping'an Town. After some investigation, Lin Chuan learned the specific truth. In recent days, a total of 3 babies have been lost in Ping'an Town, all of whom were under 1 year old. Those who cause trouble secretly are like ghosts, making people unable to guard against them. According to the descriptions of local officers and soldiers, as long as the perpetrators are given a little space, the other party will take advantage of the opportunity and steal the baby. If you hold on tight, the other party won't show up. But there are always times when people are negligent. As the saying goes, you are not afraid of thieves stealing, but you are afraid that thieves will miss you. This incident has made people panic, and many people are on the verge of collapse. This situation is somewhat similar to the situation when the hidden wall demon stole the treasure. Lin Chuan remembered the first little demon being he encountered. To the monks, the hidden wall demon is a very weak demon, only in the pulse-opening realm, but to ordinary people, it is an irresistible disaster. His uncle C, as the guard captain of Lin's trading company and one of the most powerful warriors in Yushui County, was killed without even the slightest ability to resist when facing the bean demon. So the matter of stealing children seemed strange, but Lin Chuan was not afraid. A truly powerful demon cultivator wouldn't just steal a few babies. The only problem is how to find the perpetrators. The hidden wall demon has low intelligence and acts entirely based on his nature, so it is easy to lure him out. This is not necessarily the case for demon cultivators. The opponent has time to waste, but Lin Chuan doesn't have much time to waste here. According to the records in the file, the Demon Slayer division had sent the 4 pattern demon slayers to investigate but found nothing. As soon as the demon slayers left, the demon cultivators began to cause chaos again. After carefully analyzing the files, Lin Chuan discovered a suspicious point. The demon cultivator hiding in the dark seems to have a very good understanding of the government and the actions of the residents in the town. Otherwise, no traces will be left. That demonic cultivator is likely to be lurking in the homes of ordinary people in the town, and has a certain say in the town. In this way, the target range can be greatly reduced. In Ping'an town, the most prestigious person is a squire named Xu Dao, who is respected by the people in the town as Uncle Xu. Lin Chuan learned the specific information about the rebels from Xu Dao. People can hide, but souls cannot. Lin Chuan was not going to waste too much time on this matter, so he decided to borrow Tushan Zhaozhao's power to capture the demon cultivator and go back to work. If it weren't for the company's help in collecting information on Tushan Zhaozhao's resuscitation, he wouldn't have made this trip. Late at night, Lin Chuan came to Xu Dao's home again. Xu Dao greeted him with sincerity. "Sir, where are you planning to stay tonight? I can arrange it for you. I'll stay at your house tonight." Lin Chuan sat in the main seat and said with a serious smile, "Go and call all the people who are familiar with the case. No one can be left out." "Yes, sir." Xu Dao lowered his eyebrows, cupped his hands, and retreated. It didn't take long for people to come into the hall one after another, taking up most of the huge room. Those who can stand here are basically some powerful people in the town, either big businessmen, young people, or ruffian leaders. In addition, there are the families of the victims of this incident. Lin Chuan looked at the crowd with lowered eyebrows and said nothing. With a thought, he borrowed the power of the nine-tailed fox soul, and his eyes turned into will-o'-the-wisps. The nine-tailed fox tribe has the ability to read minds and is extremely sensitive to emotional fluctuations. In his perception, there was a woman in the crowd whose mood swings were extremely violent, far worse than the others present. This woman is the first victim of Ping'an town. Basically everyone who comes to investigate has to get information from this woman, and it is easy to be misled by her. Lin Chuan was thoughtful. Judging from the situation in other small towns, if the perpetrators are the same person, then the demon cultivators should have achieved their goals by controlling the victims with secret methods and confusing the public. You really know how to pick people. After the victim loses his child, his emotions will be on the verge of collapse and his mental state will become trance-like. It is easier for the demon cultivator to choose such a target to control. After control, it is not easy for outsiders to detect. If Lin Chuan hadn't had the ability to see into the soul, he wouldn't have thought of this at all. The magic cultivator behind the scenes is not too strong. He should be hiding nearby, perhaps in the victim's home. Thinking of this, Lin Chuan waved his hand. "Let's all disperse, Xu Dao. You and I will go to the homes of several victims and see if there are any traces left by the demon." He remained calm and did not alert anyone. The demon cultivators have made trouble many times, but they have always been successful. They will definitely not cut off their tails and run away at this time. In order to dispel his opponent's suspicion, Lin Chuan first went to the victim's house, which was closer to Xu Dao's mansion, and pretended to investigate. Then he went to the home of the victim controlled by the demon cultivator to investigate. "Julian, thank you for your hard work." Xu Dao calmed the victim's emotions. "Don't worry, the demon slayer is here and he will definitely help you find the real culprit." "Thank you, sir." The widow Julian bowed her head and thanked her, then covered her face and cried for a while. Lin Chuan stood with his hands behind his back. "Xu Dao, you go out first. I have something to say to Julian alone." "Yes, sir." Although Xu Dao was confused, he didn't dare to ask any more questions and retreated respectfully. "Just exit and close the door." "Ah!" The heartbreaking screams of the widow Julian came from the house. Xu Dao's heart skipped a beat. What is the demon slayer doing? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.